one. Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome to, well, it's actually just a patch notes. Myself, Prophecy. We're going to be joined by this weird creature in the middle. His name is Hellbird. He looks very still because he doesn't want to be seen on camera tonight. The slightly mental-looking one on the right side of your screen will actually be Demonik. Don't worry, he's not that crazy, unfortunately. Guys,
Most
welcome.
of the time.
Yeah, most of the time. It's only when you really get
Hey,
drunk
good,
at
good.
events that it gets out of hand. But otherwise, guys, welcome. And we're gonna get through some notes. I mean, quick thoughts before we get into it. I know you guys were mentioning some laning oddities that you guys had known from a long time ago.
Yeah, we've played Dota for a while, but we'll get into it. Initial thoughts on these. It's a lot to take in. This patch. There's been a lot of changes.
This should be the last patch before TI, is it not? So this is actually the patch we're going to be playing on TI, obviously with a couple of changes here and there.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much it.
I'm kind of interested in how. I know we haven't had as many patches as we have had in the past, but I still feel like we're in quite a few patches.
We've had tons of patches.
This is not the worst it's been, right? It has been worse, but we're getting a lot of patches quite frequently, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, because in some ways it's sort of fun, right? Because you see a lot happening or a lot changing very, very quickly, but at the same time we're not seeing. It's almost like we're not giving it as much time as we have in the past to really develop, and sometimes that's part of the fun, is watching it evolve into something new, or somebody breaking a big pattern is quite exciting. So I have my, I wouldn't say concerns, but mixed emotions towards it.
Well, having read the patch notes, actually, I would actually say that this is more directed to what we've seen, and things that are just so broken that need to be changed.
Like illusions.
Like removing all 42 respawn talents in the game.
Yeah,
because you had heroes like Lone Druid and Lino who said, "Cool, I'm a core now that's going to respawn like every 20 seconds."
That was pretty stupid. I was like, what was that? How many Bloodstone charges do you need on Lina again to like have instant respawn? Something like 14 Bloodstone charges, which is like not even that ridiculous. You just sit there like, how is this a thing now? I don't understand.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, we'll get into the patch notes. So obviously, that is one of the big ones. Is all respawn talents have been removed and replaced by some pretty broken ones in my own feelings. But anyway, guys, let's get straight to it. So I'll take our faces away for the moment and we shall go down. So gameplay update 7.06. And we're going to start with general. Deny mechanics. Creep denies now grant the denying team 30% of the XP bounty. Normal deny XP increased from 50 to 70%. So you obviously get more if your team is denying. Sorry, if you're being denied, then you at least get some more XP now. But the other guy's getting the 30% bonus. So any player that is dominant in the lane is going to love this stat, wouldn't you guys say?
Yes, but that's not necessarily a good thing, because it is effectively making the game faster, because obviously you're going to have more experience on sides that are doing well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Dota is not a simple game, right? If you are getting ahead in gold, right, you get a core item up first, and then you get an advantage of your opponents. But this is the kind of thing that changes so that you're very likely, if you're dominant in the laning phase, to get an experience advantage on top of that. And you can actually start looking at things like tri-lanes, where, normally one of the trade-offs is the fact that you're getting less experience on those heroes, to now actually be okay, because not only can you now zone your off-laner very, very effectively, but you're also potentially getting even more XP on your own side, because you can just, deny absolutely everything. And my biggest concern about that is that, sure, we have this rubber band mechanic, which I've never been a fan of. I've never liked the fact that, you get almost punished for playing very well. But what it does mean is there's going to be so much emphasis on the laning phase that I think we're going to have laning phase Dota, followed by it being very challenging to bring things back if you fall behind in the laning phase.
We are going back to 6.35, I think I want to say, Devin.
You can say it and no one will know the difference, so it's good.
Or 6.28, it might even be a little bit further back than that. It was the first time they started. Yeah, there we go. It was the first time they started to play. Icefrog started to play with the
Deny
the
mechanics.
XP, the sort of the deny mechanics, because it used to be 100%, if I'm not mistaken. You used to get no experience.
Correct. Yeah.
And what happened was that you ended up having a mid lane sniper that was 2 levels ahead of the Queen of Pain that happened to be in the same lane, just because the sniper's attack animation was so good that it's almost, he's just denying absolutely everything, and it's worth it. It was actually worth it to deny the creeps rather than last hit because of just the way things worked back then. But I agree with Devin. It's going to be that sort of exact in that exact case, because like they've also nerfed the jungle, which we're going to get to.
Have they nerfed the jungle? They've buffed the jungle, but I think it like from what I can see, like looking quickly through the patch notes, I haven't gone through them in detail, but from what it seems as though like Devin says, they are trying to speed it up by making laning fades more important. So, I mean, for South African players, someone like Castaway is going to love this because, I mean, he already wrecks the lane constantly, and now you're going to give him an even bigger bonus. This guy's going to be eating you alive. So, I mean, this is really just, it's emphasizing the early stages more so that the fights can happen quicker and we don't get these long, dragged-out games where illusions tend to dominate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is huge for, like, every single mid lane player.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you can do well in your lane, you are going to crash.
Yeah, that is definitely the case.
Let's just point out one thing, though. You can stop here, right, on this patch note. There's obviously a lot more to come. But you can stop at this point, and Dota is now different. Yeah. And that's how big a change this is. So,
but, I mean, Dota is very much like a spider's web. If you tap one point, like, the entire thing is going to reverberate. That's what makes Dota so awesome.
Well, if you like nerf a particular hero, right? It has like a knock-on effect, right? Because let's say it's a very powerful hero, and therefore people picking heroes that were good against it, right? That is a very good example of what Sean's saying, is that those heroes will have lesser value now because, well, the hero that's been nerfed is no longer as relevant. But this is like a core change, right? This affects every hero, everything. Like I would say this affects when you pick up a rune. Like, it's that big. So Dota is now different at the first point, and much more so than just nerfing hero, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, the one way they do kind of counter it is in the next line. They say normal XP is now increased from 50 to 70%. So you get more if the other guy's denying as well now. So it like. Obviously, he's getting a 30% bonus, but it's not like you're getting still 50%. So it is sort of balanced out, but I still think it does favor the lane dominating player. But I mean, it's really going to help carries on their lanes as well, because especially tri-lane carries up against an off-laner that is now more likely to go to the jungle. They're going to be flying through the XP levels in the early stages now. I mean, I like this. I really do like this. I think it's a good way to emphasize laning stage a little bit more, while also indirectly nerfing the current like meta of just try get to late game with these ultra farmed illusion carries, and then you can just send waves of illusions at towers and eventually win the game, which to me is just horrible.
I think the thing is, though, if you ask like old school players, I mean, I'm sure you agree with me, Demonik, because we've seen this go wrong before. So it's kind of like, we've been here, we've done this, and I mean, you can finish the statement, but
it was horrible. I remember it being horrible, because you used to end up being. There used to be situations where your entire team, if the laning stage didn't go according to plan, just used to get steamrolled because they just had more levels than you did. It was simply like that simple. But they have changed the jungle to at least compensate for that a little bit. Well, I say in a little bit. It's kind of like in a big way. But they've also. We'll get there. Yeah.
I mean, let's carry on. I think we've heard enough about the deny mechanics. Shrines now start on cooldown and become available after 5 minutes. Again, just emphasizing the early laning stage. So if you're under pressure in mid lane, you're pretty much wrecked now. I don't think you're going to be able to go and use the shrine to help out. Off lane is also going to have a bit of a tough time, obviously. I don't think that's really debatable there. Shrine count reduced in base from 5 to 3. This is the second time it's been dropped, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's the second time. I remember them reducing it originally. But again, it's I think making high ground defense a little bit easier or sorry, high ground defense a little bit weaker to to like encourage people to not just rely on illusion spam and all that kind of nonsense. Shrine's mana regeneration growth per minute reduced from 1 to 0.75. Okay, just slight nerf there to the mana regeneration. So, I mean, that's tiny. I don't see that making a huge deal towards the late game.
No, it's still ridiculous amounts of regeneration.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, that's the growth. That's not like the flat amount. So, I mean, small things in the end. Lanes added an extra melee creep in mid lane for the first 15 minutes. Again, obviously helping out. Only in mid lane. Okay, so again, placing emphasis on mid laners. Jeez, is this patch just the castaway patch or something?
Yeah, but that combined with the last 20 minutes of what we've just spoken about is huge in the early game because they have an extra creep.
Yeah, it's like he has an extra creep to get more XP off and deny the opponent. Yeah, this is like I mean, this almost seems like it's going to be
emphasis on the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, this is going back to like TI4.
You're probably not going to be standing in wait, I misread this.
Yeah.
For the first 15 minutes, I thought they meant after. Okay,
no,
I misread that.
Yeah, for the first 15 minutes. Again,
it's also encouraging. It's also encouraging like what we've seen already, which is like sort of the Earth Spirit, Monkey King, Ogre Magi, those sort of like mid lane support heroes that just sort of sit in the mid lane and try. Yeah, exactly. Because there's an extra creep there, it's more viable now for them to actually be.
Yeah, I mean, it's placing extra emphasis. It places extra emphasis on the mid lane now because now winning the mid lane gets you so much more. So like this is like very, very snowbally. I hope we don't go like TI4 type thing where it just like snowballed into oblivion. But yeah, like it's interesting. Obviously, it's a big buff to mid laners that are known for being extremely mechanically skilled. Someone like Miracle, someone like Mid1. These guys are really going to have a wonderful time. And we've said it. It's encouraging ganks in the mid lane. So you. Probably going to be seeing a lot more aggressive supports, maybe even a couple of defensive ones to try and balance this out as well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing like 1-2-1 with the Aroma, opposed to where you normally have like.
We do already. It is pretty much roaming at the moment.
1-2 with Aroma. Well, more so, I think you may find that instead of having a safe lane support, you may end up having a dual mids, like an
dual
actual
roams.
Thing. Potentially dual. I wouldn't say dual roams, but I mean an actual dual mid, because you're just getting more XP there, and there's more. And as we're pointing out, there's more emphasis on the actual lane control. So if you have two people mid, like an actual dual lane, then obviously you're getting additional XP on both those heroes, but you're also potentially denying XP from your opponents. And I kind of feel like this might end up being like almost like the concept of no one buys boots in Dota. It's if everyone gets 50 move speed, then we can all just not do it, and then it'll be a gentleman's agreement, and we don't need to worry about boots anymore. But but I think there's what's more likely to happen is because of this extra emphasis on this mid lane that dual lane mids might be more of a thing, and I wonder how that affects something like IO that actually likes to dual lane mid.
I was just going to say, because I know Tiny's been buffed, and IO's got a very, very nice level 25 that they've changed for his respawn. We'll get to that, though, but I think anybody that dealt with it back in those days is going to be crying buckets when they see what IO got at level 25. Anyway, let's keep going. Creeps meet a bit closer to the offlane tower. Okay, helping the offlaners out, obviously, because if you're going to give the freaking safe lane carry this amount of bonus XP in terms of denies, you got to help out the offlane a little bit. So that's just trying to balance that out a little bit more. Creep aggro duration reduced from 2.5 to 2.3. So again, mechanics are being emphasized here. You got to really know what you're doing to try and get the creep pools, especially obviously in mid now and offlane and all that, so you can get that. Creep aggro cooldown increased as well, so you can't pull as often. Lane creeps vision reduced from 850, 800 to 700 or to 750, so emphasizing ganking a bit as well, because obviously now the creeps are not going to be giving you as much vision. It's not a massive amount at night, but in the day 100 could be significant, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So again,
I think the thing I like about this is actually just a little bit higher up, being that the creeps meet a bit close to the offlane tower, because it could just be it becomes too nightmarish for an offlane at this point.
Yeah.
So this just gives you like a little bit more just to work with.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, like, it's balancing out the ridiculousness of giving, like I said, I mean, a safe lane carry with 30% bonus XP is a bit stupid. If he's not, I mean, he already almost never gets contested, so. Although this could actually also result in dual lanes on the off lane. Now that I think about it.
I'm just thinking of something like, who was I watching? It was like Burning's anti-mage at the Kiev Major. He had as many denies as he did creep kills.
Yeah.
For the first 15 minutes of the game. He was sitting at like something like 110 CS with like 108 denies or something ridiculous. And with this change, he would have been almost level 25 by that stage. I mean, it would have been ridiculous amounts of XP.
Yeah, that would
be great, right?
That would have been properly stupid, though.
You just like, you're having a good time, your safe lane's doing alright. So offlane is having a bit of a hard time, and he's not dying, but he's having a bit of a hard time. So like, carry checks in. Cool guys, almost up to that core item. How's their carry looking? Oh, he's level 25. Just like, okay.
Yeah.
That's problematic.
Well, hasn't missed the creep.
Lads, well played, well farmed. Nice, bro. Yeah, go next.
Yeah, I mean, also, okay, look, to help out, they've then neutrals now spawn every minute instead of every 2 minutes. I like that change, because now it's actually going to allow some offlaners back into the equation, where like before it was like, oh, you can now only farm the jungle every 2 minutes. Get wrecked, mate. If you can't sit in your lane, you're just pretty much food. So I like that change. It does help the offlaners out to compensate 20% less XP and gold. So that is a bit of a bummer, but I suppose like those two together still come out as a net positive for offlaners.
I think so, if they can stack.
Yeah. Well, I mean, stacking is not going to be viable again, whereas like 2 minutes was a bit of a waste of time. It felt like neutrals XP.
What's interesting about that as well, before we run away from that, is that if you can stack, right, it does change things a little bit, because in the past, so let's like throw back a little bit, right? Think about like jungle bat riders, that kind of stuff. They were a lot more viable, obviously, because you could do it quickly, and you could get like a couple of stacks going fast and then start going through it. So I think that kind of thing might actually become more viable, although I don't know about Batrider, specifically because of the chance of getting some unlucky spawns, then having that like really high buffed up amplified spell resistance. But what I think is interesting about this is that those kind of things spill over quite a bit, right? Because you start talking about like making those kind of weird pulls through the jungle, where you make like 4 pulls, and you start looking at leveling your sports that way and that sort of thing. So this actually also may have like an interesting knock-on effect when it's in the hands of somebody who's I would say no lifing Dota 2. So I'm quite keen to see how this works out. And actually a change, I think, probably my favorite change so far is the fact that we get neutrals back every minute.
Yeah.
I mean, also, just a slight knock-on effect from that, just to add to your point, Devin, is it's going to change support timings now as well. Because like the supports when neutrals were spawning every like minute had a very different vibe to the supports that we're seeing at the moment, right? Because they were doing a lot more stacking and that kind of thing for their carries back in the day, for like the Svens and that sort of vibe. Whereas once that sort of stopped, they sort of stopped stacking at all. Nowadays, you don't really see support sitting around waiting for the minute countdown to stack. They're busy roaming and doing all sorts of things, because there's a lot of things to do in Dota nowadays. Yeah. So we might see a slight a back return to what in sort of what supports are going to be doing in the early game than what we've seen.
I think definitely like the hard support, the position 5 is probably going to be stacking a lot more now. Like, I mean, I think given that the position 4 has now become almost like he's not really a support. He's sort of just like he's like a roamer now. I don't know if you could really call him a support. I think roamers are probably going to keep their same job because of these changes early on, but the hard lane support is now going to be probably stacking a lot more. We did get it was basically like one camp that they would stack on occasion. The hard camp is the only thing that would be stacked. I think we're probably going to be seeing a lot more stacking now, obviously. And also then XP and gold increased by 2% every 7.5 minutes. That is still going to be a 75-minute game before you're getting the same amount of neutrals, XP, and gold. So a bit of a nerf to the early game in terms of neutral farming, but I still think net positive in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, so creeps, siege creep damage type versus structures is from 150 to 250%. So Siege creeps are going to be the bane of people's lives. Cartis the Destroyer is back, I guess.
Carti's probably like the most buffed thing this patch, I think.
Seems like it. It's like, what?
He's huge, dude. Carti's gone massive.
Yeah, 150 to 250%. He's gotten an extra 275 HP. Okay, I mean, he spawns less often. But then you get an extra one at 40 minutes instead of 45. So, like, you get a second one earlier, but before then he does more damage and has more HP. So yeah, Cartis is back in a big way.
Forget Cartis, right? Someone is going to figure out a new way to block creeps, right? And they're going to figure it out, and then we're going to see one of those videos coming out with like all the Cartis just, wrecking somebody's base.
There was that mass Hellbird and DemonikZA strat, right, where like everyone dominated, and they had like can't remember, but they ended up having like 13 different Cartis that came against the tower and dominated everything.
It's just ridiculous, though. Like, I mean, okay, so he is going to be spawning less often. He only spawns every 5 minutes now instead of every, what would that be, 3 or so? Yeah, like 3.5. But, I mean, I still think that, I think there's more incentive now to keep them alive, to actually push with them in terms of when these siege group spawns. I think it's really going to help. Like, it's going to allow you to time your pushes as well. So we could see a little bit more or a little bit less flexibility around things like perhaps Rosh or creep waves and all the rest. So I mean, if you're higher level enough to start timing your pushes every 5 minutes, I think there might be some profit in it now.
Yeah.
Attributes. All heroes' strength increased by 0.3. Regeneration coming from strength increased from 0.3 to 0.6. Reduced HP regen by 0.25 to compensate, obviously. Intelligence spell amplification from 1% per 15 to 1% per 14. Isn't that the original amount they made it?
No, the original amount was like quite high. It was 16.
16.
I think this is the second. It's gone from 16 to 15 to 14.
Okay, so obviously helping out mages. Mana point per intelligence reduced from 12 to 11, and base mana increased from 50 to 75. So an overall buff, I'd say, there to mages. Less.
Well,
I think. I mean, it's a buff.
Now, right?
Yeah, it's a buff overall, except maybe to something like the Nyx. Because Nyx loses the base regen by 0.25, and then the strength, obviously. I think it's a...
Yeah, he'll still be okay.
Yeah, like certain heroes, it's a nerf in the beginning too, but because they gain more by the end, I mean, what is that? 0.3 times 25... Let's get the old calculator out.
Yeah, you're asking a lot of a musician.
7.5. So it's an extra 7.5 per 25 levels, which is not massive. And I mean, obviously, it's not going to be affecting things like supports. But
Timbersaw and Lifesteal are happy again.
Yeah, I think any strength hero will be pretty happy because regeneration coming from strength increased by 0.3 to 0.6. That's a fairly significant change, actually, if you think about it. It's essentially doubling the regen you get from your base strength.
Yeah, and of course the 0.3 additional strength means it's amplified, but also I'm interested to see because Lifesteal's already a thing, right? I haven't seen his. I assume he's been.
He's decently popular. He's not like top tier, but he's certainly not forgotten.
But something like this happened before, and that's what we had when we had Lifestealer, just first pick all the time, always, and then that led to Timbersaw being, big pick because they use him against the Lifestealer. So both those heroes are probably happy with this a little bit, but I guess it depends on their nerfs and buffs, which I haven't seen yet.
Yeah,
First impressions.
But I think overall this is a buff to Intel, like Mage Cores, essentially. Because you get a spell amplification. I mean, your intel drops a little bit, or your mana per intel, but then you gain 25 extra at the beginning. So I think they'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
Mage Cores, big again. Economy, reduced melee creep base XP bonus from 45 to 50, obviously to compensate for the mid lane shenanigans with the extra one. Reduced melee creep gold bounty upgrade from 3 to 1. Okay, so that's going to be pretty significant over the course of a game, I'd say. I mean, it's 15... Yeah, it's 15 gold every time. It'll be 12 gold less per creep wave every time the upgrade occurs. So, I can see that affecting quite a bit. Melee, ranged, barracks, team bounty reduced from 275, 225 to 225, 150. Okay, I mean, there's only 6 of them, so I don't think that's huge. Roshan team bounty reduced from 200 to 150. Shrine team bounty reduced from 150 to 125. Death cost from 100 plus net worth divided by 50 to 50 plus net worth divided by 40. So, costs less to die now. I suppose that's a plus for any support that gets wrecked half the game.
It is.
Although bear in mind you're going to have more XP, so you're going to need finances faster.
Yeah, well,
so
I mean...
I wouldn't say it necessarily evens out, but it is just something to bear in mind. That it's probably not as huge as it would look standalone.
Yeah, I think a lot of these XP... Well, let me just finish quickly. Tier 3 Tower Team bonus bounty 240 to 200. And 280 to 200. So, I mean, like, overall nerfs, I think, to gold and XP. But you are going to be compensated by getting the additional XP from creeps now if you deny. So, I mean, I think it's going to bring back supports helping deny in lane type thing. Because denies are a little bit more important. You obviously get less gold, so you want to be making as much gold as early as possible because you don't really... It doesn't ramp up, you know, there's less incentive to go deep into the game. And your objectives give less as well, so, you know, it's... I don't know, I think maybe that's just trying to balance it out a little bit. As in, like, you want to pick it up earlier because it means more earlier now, this kind of cash.
So less catch-up as well, I guess. But also interestingly, I mean, what we're seeing is almost trending towards more XP, less money, which is kind of interesting. So spells almost feel like they're stronger now.
Yeah. I mean, that would fit with the whole buffing mages because they generally tend to have flat damage. So Lena is going to love this kind of thing. OD is going to love this kind of thing.
It's a massive trend that we're going to see later, is that they are definitely trying to not reach the points where, I mean, if I talk League of Legends and ability power, where they have it like scaling in almost directly exactly the same as their attack power as physical damage would scale, but we're getting to that point where Ice Warrior is definitely looking to make them way more viable than they were in the late game, because, you know, there was no point that you would ever pick sort of 5 spellcasters because they were just not viable in the late. After like 20-30 minutes, you know, if the other opposing team had an actual carry, you'd just get destroyed because they had a BKB and you could do nothing. Whereas now it's like you're tending towards a stage where it's like that might actually occur in certain situations, just because they actually scale, and some of the talents are pretty ludicrous as well.
They are going to be ludicrous. So I mean, again, just following on from the earlier changes, kind of trying to help out the early game there a little bit more. General changes: Illusion Gold XP bounty from 5 plus level to 2 times level. So that is a nerf, because now you're giving more gold. Illusion building damage reduction from 50 to 60%, much needed. Buyback cooldown increased from 7 to 8. Okay. Basically punishing you more for screwing up your fights.
Yeah.
Roshan drops
That's
cheese
a big window
now.
here.
Yeah.
Because if you think about that, is that the amount of time it takes you to almost set up for a team fight on a push means that, so you just have that extra, like, it's a full minute. It is actually a big difference, especially when you consider things like Roshan, right? Because that is, you know, a minute in Dota can be a lifetime.
Yeah.
And that could be the difference between you going into a rush pit with buyback or without. And that also is that extra minute for a team to look for that pick off, etc., etc. So that is, like, do not underestimate what a big difference that minute is going to make.
No, I mean, like I was saying, it puts more value on winning your fights. Because if you screw up now and you buy back, like, you can't buy back for another 8 minutes. It's really,
and in
like,
those super long games, that's like huge. That is a massive difference.
That is going to be a massive difference. Roshan now drops cheese from the second death. Roshan armor bonus per upgrade interval increased from 1.1 to 1.3. I don't really know about that cheese upgrade, though. I think... I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it's going to... Like, obviously, Roshan becomes worth a lot more now after the first one. So maybe increasing fighting around the Rosh pit. He's more difficult to bring down as well, though. That's the other thing. Slightly.
I think that's the thing, right? They want people to spend more time at Roshan because he's going to be harder to kill, and additionally, he's worth more.
Yeah.
So Roshan is... I mean, you can ask any cast in the world, right? You see those two teams heading towards Roshan and you get excited because that is always, it's very often going to end up in a big team fight. So to me, this is almost like fan service, right? You make Roshan more valuable, and then you encourage people to fight him, and you give teams more time to realize, a Roshan is going on, and actually get there. So I quite like this as a caster, I guess. I don't... It's obviously a big... It also changes the game quite a bit. But
yeah, I mean, I know a lot of...
I guess this is something that'll be more fun.
I can't remember which player it was. It might have been mid one, but I know that they were complaining a little bit that like Roshan means a little bit too much. I mean, it's not League of Legends level with like Baron gives you essentially auto GG when you're far enough ahead.
Yeah.
But I do think like this might actually de-emphasize how important Rosh is because like the cheese is available earlier type thing. So yeah, it's an interesting one.
I mean, cheese, but cheese is huge. If you're going like Virtus Pro into what they're like running a fuzzy lineup where you're getting the Roshan like pretty early, that second cheese is going to be coming in at what 20-25 minutes into a game. That is
for unless you're Hellbird, then you just farm until 30 minutes with a fuzzy.
Yeah, you win the game anyways. Because you have all the big items.
Mega 8 would disagree with you. Mega 8 would disagree with you there. Okay, but anyway, let's get to it.
I don't know what you're talking about. What?
Power up runes.
I wasn't fasting that weekend. I was doing something else, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Power up runes now spawn different runes on both sides of the river after 40 minutes. Okay, yeah, that's basically just because a bounty rune at 40 minutes is really just like you get there and you're like, what is this? Is this a joke? So
the carries will still take it and not give it to their support.
Of course,
every time.
Of course, because the support it's the hard knock life for you, bitch. You better learn. So this I like because now you can at least get a pretty good ruin if you're lucky. I mean, there's still going to be that guy that walks up there and picks up the illusion rune at like 45 minutes with a non-illusion based hero, and he's going to cry. But so be it, I guess.
Imagine two DDs coming like 40
no, it's different.
60 minutes into a game.
Spawn different runes.
More importantly, right, with the power of a bottle, if you can get your two cores, like your one position and your two position, at both runes at 159, you bottle that DD rune on the one side, you bottle, let's say, the haste on the other, and
after 40.
And you just look
It's after 40 minutes.
Double damage runes. Exactly. Can you imagine the horrors of having like a buffed up core, right, picking up a double damage rune and a haste rune?
Could you imagine Sven double damage haste? I don't want to. That's horrible.
With like I don't know, like a PA behind him or something. I realize that's unlikely, but still, I can dream, right? It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's going to happen in a pubby, and it's possible that we might see something amazing at a big event, and that will just be insane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with that?
You run.
We'll see.
Pray. Well, I mean, okay. So next one.
You can't
uphill.
run. He has haste.
Uphill mischance no longer applies to flying units. That was a mechanic that never made a whole lot of sense to me. I mean, what's it going to affect? It's going to affect the black dragons, so buffing Chen, which is... That's actually another thing that I forgot to mention. Jungle heroes, big time buff. Obviously something like Enigma has been seen with play, but Chen and Enchantress haven't seen much, so this is a pretty big one. Especially for Chen, because he gets those black dragons, and now it's going to hurt the towers if he gets there. Mm-hmm. Fixed various pathing issues with the bottom dire creeps between tier 1 and tier 2. Okay. Tower bonus armor based on nearby heroes increased from 1,400 to 1,600. That's just trying to get around... What team was it? I think it was OG that would do that. It
was OG.
And that was just like...
the high ground.
Yeah, and then send their illusions in so that the towers don't get the bonus armor. Yeah. I was just like, so I was like, you cancerous bastards.
And how OG are going to deal with this? going to stand a little further back.
Yeah, pretty much. Does seem like it. Okay, I'm going to skip the respawn talents because there's a lot of them, and we actually deal with them in the heroes as well. So
they're
I'm not.
They're all in the heroes.
We're just going to like redo them essentially, so there's no point in that. Item changes. Ethelens spell implication increased from 5 to 6, buffing casters, as we said. I like this new change to the recipe though. It's gone from a ring of health and energy booster and a recipe to an energy booster, a void stone, and a recipe. So you get mana regen, and you get spell damage now instead of like health regen, which is pointless to most to most casters. I mean, supports are also going to love this because you're getting bonus mana regen now as well on top of it.
Yeah.
So I like this change. I think it's cost the same, but it's going to mean a lot more to the poor old supports that tend to have to decide between, extra damage or survivability type thing.
The only thing I want to point out is that those boots are generally quite an early game item. I mean, you'd often find sports. Excuse me. Sorry. Wait. I skipped the point here. Right. Often people will get arcane boots, right, and break them down into an Aether Lens. Right?
Yes.
And that meant you got the laning sort of prowess of the Ring of Health, which is really good. But now that's less likely to happen, and accordingly, Aether Lens is like less of a laning item as it was before.
But Steven, hold that thought. That's all I'm going to say to you, because we're going to get to the 4 staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you guys agree with me? It's a fair comment.
Yeah, I mean, I like the change because it kind of introduces like you can't just pick it up and get spell damage and health, or mana and health out of it. Now it's like you get mana out of it, and you get mana regen out of it, and you get spell damage. So it's very much like it's an actual choice now. It's not like just pick it up every time almost type thing. I mean, it's been nerfed obviously since those days, but it's still, I think it's more of like a decision now that you go into it. So there'll be fewer heroes that might pick it up early on. I think supports will still grab it though, certainly. So things like Lion will definitely grab this item. Lina as well.
Absolutely.
Blade Mail cooldown increased from 18 to 20. Okay, that's I think just a slight nerf to things like the Legion Commander. Blightstone.
Item anyway.
Yeah. Blightstone. Yeah, this is a couple of the big changes. Blightstone no longer a unique attack modifier. That's going to be pretty big. Especially as we'll see, there's a certain hero that's going to be filthy if it builds into what I think the path is. So I mean, you get the minus. Yeah. Let's not go there yet. But I mean,
all finally build that Scouty on them.
Bloodthorn cooldown increased from 14 to 18. Again, I think it's just trying to nerf the popularity of the item more than remove it from play, because this was pretty much go-to build for so many heroes at a certain point. Bottle reduced from 660 to 650. Okay, again, it's like sort of like a laning buff, a very tiny one.
It's to compensate for the fact that you're getting slightly less gold from the creep now in the early stage of the game. They're still going to get the bottle, I think, at around the same time.
To be fair, the bottles are usually run by mid laners, so this is actually a double buff because they get the extra creep, and they get
they get the extra creep, yeah.
Yeah, like the only gold that they're losing is like whenever the creeps upgrade, you get less gold of that.
So they'll get this even faster now.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, a good mid laner will get a bottle even faster, which means he's even more difficult to deal with, because that seems great. Bracer recipe cost reduced from 190 to 175. Okay.
I'm sorry. Let's go back a step. I just want to point out the Castaway is heavy breathing right now.
Yeah.
This is through his heavy breathing. Like
this is the Castaway patch right before DGL Masters.
I know.
It's like
nothing says a DGL event.
WG are clearly in on this somehow.
Yeah, they must have bribed OS Frog, because that does not make a whole lot of sense to me. It's just like, okay, let's make the best mechanical mid laner in South Africa even better right now, just to make life a little bit more unfair. Okay, Bracer 190 to 175. Small change. I think this does. It's going to impact another item later on though. Clarity buff is now purgeable. Okay, I mean, I don't know why. purge.
Sure.
I don't know why
And
you
on that
purge
day,
clarity.
Nobody cared. And that day nobody cared.
Yeah, I think that.
I give that a thumbs up.
Yeah, I don't really understand. I mean, maybe there's some kind of small play there. Crimson Guard duration increased from 10 to 12. This is more of like a notice me buff, I feel, because most people buy the headdress and then sorry, not the headdress, the what's that bloody item?
Vanguard.
Yeah, like they buy parts of it and then they're just like, and we're not going to do anything else with
the
it.
buckler.
Yeah, the buckler goes into the mechanism, and then the vanguard goes into not Daedalus, satanic now. Is it? Is it satanic that it goes into now?
Yes.
No, it's abyssal. It goes into the abyssal blade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like this is just sort of like another option earlier on instead of the abyssal blade. So probably encouraging vanguards earlier or something like that. I don't know. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Daedalus increased from 76 to 80. That's another one of those changes. This is like OS Frog, because 76 damage.
If you're dealing that, if you're buying a Daedalus, 4 damage is not going to make too much of a difference at that stage. I think you know what I mean.
Yeah. Dagon now instantly kills illusions. I suppose that's cool. Probably just like an anti-frustration feature to like you actually get to kill an illusion as opposed to do it after damage to it.
Dagons. Support Dagons to get rid of Naga illusions. It's the best.
Well, I mean, I suppose it helps Puck against like Naga illusions. I don't know. I don't know how many other heroes like constantly buy Dagon though.
Tinker?
Yeah, Tinker will do it sometimes, but like that'll be like a 4th item, whereas Puck will sometimes pick it up 2nd, 3rd on a Dagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Demon Edge cost reduced from 2,400 to 2,200, and then damage lost 4. So that could have a little bit of an impact. I mean, obviously the cost reduction is pretty big. The damage reduction less so. But I think overall this is a buff to the item.
Yeah, I think it's encouraging people to go
pick
for
it up
Daedalus
more
instead of an MKB.
Probably. Because I mean, MKB hasn't been touched as far as I remember.
I really feel this is one skin faster fights or more exciting fights.
Yeah.
Because that's something that Daedalus does, I guess, in a weird way, is it just makes fights look more entertaining. I really have felt for a long time that's what Dota's been trying to do, is just make the game more entertaining to a spectator. And this is the kind of thing that if you're encouraging people to go for that Daedalus, that you're then
big crits.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, we're all casters here. We know that feel. So
yeah.
Hell, as fans, we know that feel. So why not?
I mean, like I don't mind them emphasizing the earlier game more. Like the problem is that like of late, because the games tend to go, further along, it just generally devolves into what's the hero that'll do the most damage at 80 minutes. I wonder. Let me pick a Naga Siren and a Alchemist, and we'll win the game at 80 because we just suck up all the farm for the last 40 minutes of the game. So, I mean, I don't mind this kind of build. It actually allows certain heroes to be a little bit more effective earlier on so that you can kind of counter those ultra late game heroes. So, I mean, I'm all for this change. I enjoy that. Desolator, no longer in a unique attack modifier. That is significant because you can now pick up Desolator and Skadi. And Diffusal, that is going to be a horror show. This is terrifying.
Yes.
Yes, but I have to point out something here, Demonik. I think you'll appreciate is that this to me is also a bit of a passing of the torch, because Desolator was that item in Dota 1 that didn't stack with anything.
Yeah.
So now that we've reached this point, it's kind of to me almost
what is still in effect? Lifesteal.
No, only certain lifesteals.
So Satanic and
I think
Morn
only
Mask and...
I think only Satanic. Or is it no? I think it's Satanic and Mask of Madness are the only two that are unique modifiers, if I remember correctly now. Let me just check.
But I literally think lifesteal is the only unique attack modifier left. So you can just buy whatever you want. Essentially, they may as well just remove lifesteal as a unique attack modifier. It's silly. It's almost silly at this point because they removed
Mask of Madness, Satanic. Just try to reach the 100% lifesteal.
Let me. I just want to check quickly. I want to confirm. Is it a unique modifier? The lifesteal stacks additively with other sources of lifesteal which are not unique attack modifiers. Okay, so what is not?
I assume that's things like auras and passive skills.
Anti-Mage's Mana Break is a UAM. OD, Mask of Madness, Satanic, and Morbid Mask. Those are the five that remain. Because they've removed it's Blightstone, Desolator, and then we'll get to the two heroes that have had their unique attack modifiers removed as well. One of which I think Hellbird will be pretty happy about.
Yep, I've already seen it, love it.
Alright, so let's get to it. Enchanted Mango, cost reduced from 110 to 100 and cannot be sold, must be consumed.
I don't know why, that's just a BM.
I don't know, I don't know why you'd sell it. Selling it 55 gold. Maybe?
You need that 50 gold to buy mana boots on a hero instead of just popping your mango.
Yeah, I mean,
you just have to consume that mango.
I see. So, I do like that they use it later on. You will see it. It actually gets used in an item now. So I think that's a nice use of it.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why you can't sell it. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Especially because you can sell just about everything else. I mean, hell, we could sell the Aegis back in the day.
I know why. They go off. You're gonna go off. The mango can't last forever.
Terrible logic, but that probably is exactly why it was done. I'm not even going to dispute that. Fairy Fire, cost reduced from 75 to 70. Okay, again, that's just increasing the... I know that they spoke about it in a later patch note. That it's like increasing what you can start the game with. Like your opening items can now be worked a little bit. That's the logic behind that. Reworked the 4-staff. So it was a Ring of Wizardry, Ring of Regen, and a recipe. It is now a Staff of Wizardry, a Ring of Health, and a much less recipe. So instead of 4 health regen, you now get 6 health regen overall, and still the 10 intel. That is a pretty good pickup, although it's harder to get, I think, overall, the item, because you now have to save 850 rather than starting with a Ring of Regen. So
yeah, I mean, fair enough. It's kind of
also
like
opens up
not a buff or a nerf kind of feel I have.
I would say it opens up this the way for supports to go mana boots into like perseverance and then split that perseverance into an Aether Lens and a 4-staff. But if they're looking to get some like early regen, because that's going early perseverance on a support, that's like a fairly old idea that's been used for like a year.
It's dead and buried and resurrected and buried.
It's slightly more viable now, just because those pieces are a little bit easier to pick up as is.
Yeah, I mean, this is also again, this is a buff to things like Lena and OD, because they kind of want both an Aether Lens and a 4-staff, and now there's actually a reason for them to go for a perseverance, because you can just split it and get both the items.
Correct.
That type of thing.
The only thing is that I mean, good old Knoxville, if he's listening to this now, he's like, no, because 100% regen when you have no intel is bad. And that's the only catch with this, is that you don't get as much value out of it as you might like, since you're not actually getting a huge amount of increased, mana regen from it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is you get it later, so you gain less. I suppose it'd be the best.
Yeah, so it's like better later on and harder to get, but
yeah. Hurricane Pike gains plus 2 health regen. Okay, that's just really, I mean, 4-staff got better, so Hurricane Pike gets slightly better. Okay, Hand of Midas, I think everybody's favorite item. Recipe cost increased. Nerf XP multiplier increased from 175 to 185. Gold bonus reduced from 220 to 200. So a nerf to the bonus gold, but an increase to the XP.
But what's weird about this is, since you're getting less gold, you're getting the Midas later, and you're already getting XP faster. Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about this. I kind of feel like this.
This is another buff.
It's not great.
This is another buff to.
Honestly, I think this is Iceberg just saying, I don't know how to balance this item.
This feels like again like another buff to. I mean, like the heroes that pick this thing up, already picking it up for the XP. So this is sort of like countering things like jungle players that go for their Midas early. And mid laners that go for Midas early as well. This is helping them out big time because now you're getting bonus XP. Now you're getting more bonus XP. I mean, you're not getting as much gold, but at this point, the higher level you get, especially heroes, again, I mean, I've mentioned it so many times now, but Lina, OD.
Yeah, but the gold had reached like ridiculous levels anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is just like, I think it's an overall buff to mid laners again. I mean, sure, it's more expensive to get, but you gain more XP now, and you're already getting an extra creep in the mid lane, so that kind of just evens it out, you'd almost say.
Yeah.
So
I just realized something whilst having this conversation. Doesn't this make Alchemist a little bit scarier?
Wait. Alchemist got Alchemist got the Batrider treatment, which I'm so glad.
Right. Okay, fine. If old Alchemist came in here with a game that was harder to make money and easy to get experience, it just feels like Alchemist dream. Yeah. But okay. Okay. Can I do this next one because I think it's the most important. It's the second most important.
You can go ahead.
The healing self buff is now purgeable. And on that day,
thumbs up.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. I guess what happened here is like a developer was playing a game and he's like, but I purged him and he still gained HP, so I could kill him, and that's not fair. Well, you know what? Now we're getting rid of this. But although I will say one thing about that, I'm curious to how that works with like the neutrals that purge, because that could be irritating. Yeah. Actually,
that's about the only thing you're going to be using it for. Is like you get that crappy little satyr that just purges everybody, and you just. You just annoy the living shit out of the guy when you hit with purge while he's busy healing self. That's just like, dude.
Yeah. You just wait. You wait for but that does damage anyways, which I feel like that would stop. I don't know because Iron Shell, things like Tranquil Boots don't deactivate. So
yeah, because it has to do a certain amount of damage over like a certain amount of time or something. It's like I think it's like 100 damage over like 1 second or 0.5 seconds or some stupid thing like that. But I mean, like purgeable, nobody's going to purge.
Way too much care. Let's just move on with life.
Heart of Tarask now requires a second vitality booster instead of the 1,400 recipe. Strength bonus is reduced from 45 to 40. That's 100 HP less. And health bonus increased from 250 to 500. Okay, so it's a buff overall. A pretty big one.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Yeah. It's 150 extra HP for what? 1,000 for 300 less gold. That's pretty big.
If you're on a hero that has one of those like HP per second talents anyway, it's just that flat increase in HP is great.
Yeah, it's love.
Also, kind of nice for things like anti-mage, because you're obviously getting more HP, and there's the old school kind of like blink out.
Anti-mage is never going to buy a heart though. Like this is like encouraging people to buy a heart.
Yeah, the concept is sort of, you get out of the fight, you regen up more, and then you're back in the fight. So it's like, it's nice, and I think what that does, once again, it promotes sort of, more fighting, because you can have somebody almost bait or something like that and come back at full strength pretty soon afterwards. So I kind of feel like that's what it's going to be used for to some degree, at least.
Yeah.
So in and out stuff.
But I mean, this is like, heart has always been like a relatively underdeveloped item in terms of how many heroes buy it. So I think this is again like one of those notice me buffs. It's like, oh, you get an extra 150 HP for 300 gold less. Let's see if people buy it now.
What I'd actually like to see them do is, for all I salute all the old Hun trash out there, is the heart, I think it's called Behemoth's Heart or something like that in Heroes of New Earth. What it would do is you would get additional buffs based on what type of hero you were. So if you were a agility hero, you got an additional damage buff. If you were strength, you got additional HP, and if you were intel, you get additional spell damage. And I think you could almost introduce that to the item to make it potentially a little bit more viable, but obviously not to some sort of extreme. Give it almost like an 8 lens treatment where it's a small percentage, not something that's ridiculous.
The problem is I think you'd run the risk of making it overpowered at that point. Because like
Well, I
this
mean,
is
you don't
like this is already a
it's
good
more so
item.
like
It's
a
just
perk
people don't
than
buy
anything
it
else.
because there's better items.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if you don't go, if you're not ridiculous about it, and maybe nerf it a little bit at the same time, so like reduce the amount of HP it gives, but then give it something else, you might see, especially something like agi carries, more interested in doing this. So a lot of agi carries are quite squishy, and this would make it a lot more interesting to them to consider. Okay, well, I'll get the extra HP and I still get damage percentage buff out of it.
thing is,
That's
like,
a
I guess-
mental idea.
I mean, the thing
Yeah,
is like they
I mean,
already
the one
have
was no-
they already have like the
Adam, so I don't know what
abyssal.
you're talking about, Demonik.
They already get like the abyssal, which gives them a little bit of HP, and gives you like a bash. That's the
Which I
problem.
recall you calling the worst upgrade ever, or change to an item ever.
It was buffed as a result, and it was terrible.
I
Go
don't
and
remember
watch.
that.
Go and watch everybody's
No,
opinion on that item when it first got changed. It was
No, I'm just living with Sean saying
It
it was
was-
a bad item.
dog. That item was a dog when it got changed. Everyone's like, it's 10 damage. Who gives a shite about 10 damage? For like, oh, I get a lot of stun, a tiny bit of HP, and 10 damage. That seemed ridiculous for the amount of gold that you were spending on it. But anyway, enough about that. Heaven's Hellbird can no longer be dispelled by spell immunity. This is pretty big. Because if you hit
Yeah.
a guy that's got a BKB before he pops that BKB, he is still wrecked inside that BKB.
I thought this was like probably the biggest change to any item
Yeah.
that I've seen, other than maybe like the Desolator being removed.
Yeah, like in pubs, this is not going to make a difference because nobody buys this item. But at pro level, I
Highly
think,
encourages you to buy
Yeah.
a Heaven's Hellbird now.
because this is people are gonna hate you once they get hit by that. And it's like, I'll just pop my BKB and what? Why am I still missing everything? Yeah, this is not going to be a fun
The thing
one.
is, there are no items that answer. There are no real items that answer BKB like too well, right? Except this one now has a brilliant answer to like that awkward period where the carry's gonna like the SF's gonna pop his BKB and just wreck your entire team, you know,
Yeah.
because he's managed to get his BKB at 22 minutes. You managed to get a, you
Can
know,
this be dispelled though?
Pardon?
Can you dispel the Heaven's Hellbird buff or debuff?
No, that's exactly what it's saying. Can no longer be spelled.
No, I mean,
just-
sorry, let me rephrase. Like put by like.
yeah,
a
you can purge it
or
off,
something.
but do you really want to waste a purge to get rid of the Heaven's Hellbird buff?
and someone else on your team would have to have the purge because you can't
Yeah.
self purge anymore, right?
Yeah. This is one of those like deceptively good ones because if you're starting a fight and you hit the carry with a Heaven's Hellbird now, that guy's going to be in pain. Like he can pop a BKB, but he's still not going to be doing a whole lot of damage at that point. So I mean, I like
Exactly.
this. I like it. I mean, Heavens has been very, very underused.
Get that Dagon in your backpack. Just swap it out the moment you get Heaven's Hellbird.
And I think it has one of the nicest like icons for
Tooltips.
any of the items. It's an amazing
It's kind of
icon.
pretty. Yeah, it's like a wing axe, right?
It's a
it's like
Also,
Hellbird.
it's called
Flaming-
Heaven's
It's
Hellbird.
Hellbird.
guys.
Hellbird, yeah.
It's a giant axe on a pole, dude.
It's Devon's Hellbird.
It's
Yeah.
Devin's Hellbird. There we go. That's there we go.
It's
I'm
terrible.
happy. Good. Buff it more. Just make it do 900 damage as well. I'm sorted.
Helm of the Dominator now uses a Ring of Health instead of an 800 gold recipe. Ring of Regen from 8 to 10. So, I mean, slightly more expensive, but you gain more health regen out of it. So I'd
Yeah.
say about equal. I mean, it costs more, but you get more. So
Yeah.
So the Ring of Health is just good. I mean,
I think
The
that's
Ring of
just
Health
feels
is-
bad because they nerfed it like a little bit too hard in the last patch.
yeah,
It
I mean,
was really popular, and then no one bought it ever because it just got turned into trash.
I mean,
Now
I must
think
say
they're at
it,
least trying to.
it seems as though like Ring of Health is the item this patch, though. It's like
Yeah.
it just gets put into everything now.
A popular kid in town.
Yeah, seems like it. Mask of Madness requires a quarterstaff instead of a 700 gold recipe. Okay, this is continuing that whole theme of instead of recipes, you actually purchase items. Provides plus 20 damage, plus 10 attack speed. Berserk active reduced from 120 to 110 and can now be disassembled. I suppose just trying to encourage people picking it up because I think people were still a bit weary of the downsides. So now you gain an extra 10 damage and attack speed, and then the Berserk active, okay, that's counted, so it's basically just better. I mean,
It is.
costs
It's
a bit
better.
more, but it's better. I think that'd be the
also, I
simplest way to
really
say it.
like these kind of changes where, like, you know, both of these items that go into Mask of Madness actually can become something quite useful. and this is a fairly early game item, so it makes it almost, I guess, appealing to pick up a Master Madness fairly early and then turn it into something else.
Yeah,
Or turn
and
both components into something else.
actually in the next one, Morbid Mask, cost reduced from 1,200 to 1,100. Bonus damage reduced from 15 to 10. So, I mean, with the quarterstaff, it's basically the same price now, because the quarterstaff is what, 800? Yeah. I think it's 800 gold. Is it 900? Okay, so it's 100 gold more expensive for plus 20 damage, plus 10 attack speed. Basically, that's a pretty big buff. Solar Crest.
It is.
Everybody's favorite, most hated item in the game.
I also think this is why Rosh got more armor, because of that this item exists.
Well, I mean, they've nerfed it as well, so Rosh is going to be happy. Solar Crest armor addition, removal reduced from 12 to 10. Okay, it's small but significant. It's gonna make a difference in fights. And then I like this change though. Changed on enemies from 25% miss chance to 25% true strike. So it's more aggressive than defensive now, because now you're not dropping the 25% on the opponent to get him to miss. You're trying to do more damage to him. So I like that. I mean, it kind of changes the 12 to 10. So this is actually much better against, especially agility carries that are going to be picking up, early evasion and stuff like that, because now they can't evade.
Yeah. But how does this sort of stack, if that makes sense? So is it saying that if you have 25% evasion, you no longer have evasion? Or is it almost like you have a 25% chance, so one out of every 4 hits, let's call it that, would give you
one in every 4 hits, you're guaranteed to hit. So if he has evasion, it's always going to go through the evasion. If you get what I'm saying. So like, if you have 33% evasion...
I understand. It's kind of weird though, right? I don't know. It sounds kind of weird.
No, it's like you have a 25% chance to guarantee a hit. So 1 in 4 hits will hit.
Yeah, and then I mean, this is not the true way that these percentages work, by the way. So just know that,
but I mean,
if you look at a mechanical level, right? The way that a computer would process this information would be 1: is it a true strike or not? If yes, then damage equates. If not, then does hero have evasion, etc., 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 and then it's carries on with the rest of the situations, right? So if a true strike just means it's a guaranteed hit.
Yeah,
and I think that evasion also works with the kind of that pseudo random that they use, where you're effectively, it's a different percentage on each shot that effectively should make it out of the overall game likely to add up to 25%, opposed to it actually being a flat 25%. So anyways, it's pretty interesting, I guess. It's kind of. Yeah.
Next one, Moonshard now gives half of the bonus night vision when consumed. I don't really know any player that picked it up purely for the bonus night vision, but it was obviously a big plus. Half of it, I think, is still decent. I think it's just, again, it's one of those like, please don't buy this item so much, because it felt like every hero tended to get this item eventually. So, yeah.
I think they still will though. I mean, they just
they still will.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is not enough of it. This is not a nerf that like to get it out of the game. This is just like a please stop buying it so much nerf. It's like the fine print on a one of those vague cancer treatments that you read in like some dodgy magazine. That's what this is. Like, please just stay away, that kind of thing. Necronomicon, demonic summoning duration increased from 40 to 45 because we all need more necro units. Extra 5 seconds. More damage to towers, I guess. Yeah. Small buff, but I mean decent. It's really not the end of the world. Observer Ward, cost reduced from 65 to 60. Please just make these things free now. It's pretty ridiculous. And then allows for different starting item combinations. I think that's the same reason why they dropped the Fairy Fire and Mango and all the rest. I think that's the only reason that they've been doing that. Radiance damage on illusions reduced from 40 to 35. Please, I think this is another one of those like, please stop using illusions with Radiance now. So that one
will never stop. You can't stop us.
Yeah, but I mean, 35 is I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it actually is pretty significant because most illusion-based heroes that are using the Radiance have multiple illusions. So that's going to reduce that pretty significantly, I think. Refresher Orb now refreshes charge-based abilities. I don't know why it never did. I mean, what heroes are actually going to pick up a Refresher Orb now, though, that didn't before?
This is going to be the spell Ember Spirit that's now going to refresh and get all 3 of his thingies back.
That would be ridiculous, but probably going to happen.
Or am I mistaken? Or is it also going to be a Refresher Orb Earth Spirit that gets all 6 of his
I think more likely the Ember Spirit, to be honest. It would be fun to see though.
All 6 of his rocks back.
It's gonna be all the shrapnels. That's what's gonna be.
What else? Oh, shrapnel. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else is charge based.
You're really gonna buy a refresher orb.
Buys a refresher orb for his shrapnel. You just like literally uninstall Dota because
this is really strong for.
No, for Ember Spirit. Yeah, for Ember Spirit, this is like
in the late game.
Yeah, I think this is like an attempt to help Magic Ember, because Magic Damage Ember basically became crap after 50 minutes because he just did nothing. It's like, oh, I'm going to burn you, and I don't care anymore because of all the other buffs to keep it, like people alive. So, yeah, I think this is like a viable pickup for an Ember Spirit. At least you will get to see some crazy plays with it if somebody's quick enough. Just another shot.
Can't wait for Mid1 to buy it.
I can't wait for Castaway to get ridiculous from somebody at DGL. Because he's probably the guy most likely to buy this.
Yeah.
Rod of Atos, item reworked from 2 staffs of wizardry and a vitality booster to 1 staff of wizardry, 2 braces, okay, and a recipe. I don't know how many times they're going to try and get people to buy this item, and it's probably not going to happen. Like, the endless quest continues.
Why? Why change?
And they brought back an additional recipe. They'd like, let's get
Why
all
did
the
they bring back a recipe?
Yeah. We want more work later. We'll change this to another staff of wizardry later. We'll rejig everything to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, this
the
has become
exactly the same as a vitality booster. So
I think
top tip valve.
I think it would be too good if it had the vitality booster in, because if you look at the stats that it gives. If you look at the stats that it gives, it's 20 intel, 20 intel, 15 strength, 6 agility, and 6 damage. So every hero will be picking it up now, type thing. Or you could, in theory, right? It still has a ridiculously strong ability that it gives you. And if you go and add 350 HP on top of that, that's like every hero is buying this item, except maybe an agility-based carry.
I suppose it makes it way more viable for intelligence-based sort of caster heroes, like.
Yeah. I think this item this might actually be like an offlaner's item now, because you get intel, you get strength, you get agility, and you get damage, and you get the slow. So this is like, something like perhaps.
Root is good now.
Yeah, Root is ridiculously strong now, but I mean,
it's also no trips to the secret shop, also worth mentioning.
Yeah.
So you can buy this straight from base, which I think is just one of those like quality of life improvements.
Nobody's going to buy it, though. Rod of Atos is one of those items where it's like, they keep buffing it to try and get people to buy it, and always buys it, and then nobody else gives the damn. But anyway.
It's nice on Pudge, actually. Just saying, because it gives him a lot of what he needs.
Yeah, now it'll give him a lot of what he needs, like support Pudge, perhaps? I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that happening. And Root is good lately, so...
Stupid.
I don't know.
It's
like,
so
people
strong.
don't seem to like Rovitos, but it's kind of like Heaven's Hellbird though in some sort of ways. People just don't like it. So
yeah, it's because like the items that you buy for it could be used in different places, and like the money you're spending isn't worth. It's like 3,100 gold previously for 30 intel and 350 health. Like the only hero that would regularly buy this item would be like OD, and OD falls in and out of popularity based on how badly he gets nerfed or buffed. So it's really dependent on how strong his OD.
This item has a problem, because this is what I'd call like a medium item, right? Dota, you effectively get items that are really good early game, and then items that are really good late game, and then you get items that become part of that, right? So you'll get things like, let's say, like a Crystallis, right? It's not the worst item in the game. It comes a Daedalus. It's good, right? But like Rod of Atos probably needs an upgrade instead of a change. You know what I mean? Like it should probably be part of something better or something like that. Then I think people will buy it, and then it'll actually be like really strong. And maybe it needs to be nerfed a bit at its base level until it becomes stronger in its final form.
I mean, it's what, 20 gold cheaper. Like, I think there are heroes that are going to buy it now, but I still think it's going to be one of those items that like not many heroes buy. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Sanj, cost reduced by 100. Okay, buff. Yasha, cost reduced by 100. Attack speed reduced from 15 to 10. Okay. That then gets counted in Manta style, so it's just a flat nerf to the actual item. But it's a nerf to the Yasha.
Just a flat nerf.
It's just like, get wrecked, mate. I'll reduce it by 100 and then Manta style costs 100 more. So, I mean, the only reason these days people are buying Yasha is to get to Manta style. So, I think this is a buff to S and Y in an attempt to get people to buy S and Y more instead of just going straight to Manta. So, like an indirect nerf to illusions again.
Yeah,
but
and
also less money on the map. So another good reason to get Sanjin Yasha, because Sanjin Yasha used to be that sort of it's just like a snowbally item, right? You get that sort of extra HP, extra move speed, a little bit of extra attack speed. Actually, pretty decent attack speed in the past. Now it's just a little bit extra, and then you sort of use that to bully opponents. And now you have less money in the game, so this costs less, brings up the sort of value of the Sanjin Yasha item entirely.
Yeah,
so I think we'll see a lot of Sanjin Yasha now.
S and Y basically became a crappy version of the of Skadi, and that's why people wouldn't buy it, because like, why go S and Y if you can just go Skadi in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes longer of farming?
Well, it's also like, why go S and Y if you can get an item that gets you out of silences and all sorts of ridiculous things?
Yeah.
In the form of Manta style, which I just think is one of the strongest items in the game in general.
Yeah.
Do you even go Skadi now though? Because Skadi is an expensive item, and once again, less money in the game. So it's really hard to
remember,
get
illusion-based heroes tend to lack stats, so they'll go Manta style, and then they also pick up a Skadi.
Yeah.
Just to make life extra annoying for you. That's the thing.
I hear you.
Like this is like encouraging S and Y purchases over Manta style, and at the same time encouraging earlier aggression, because S and Y is now like, usually it was like, once you get to 25, 30, S and Y is just like crap item. Why would you want to use it at that? But why would you want to have it? Because you can't split it, and you can't do anything with individual items at 30 minutes. Like, sure, Manta style maybe, but Heaven's Hellbird at 30 is just crap. So
we're all still buying Bloodthorn, you say?
Pretty much. Scythe of Ice, cooldown reduced from 25 to 22. 3 seconds can be significant, but I mean, this is a late game item these days anyway, and the number of heroes picking it up are not huge. So it's good. It's just like encouraging people to buy it, I guess. Shiva's Guard recipe increased from 600 to 650. Another one of those items where I'm just like, why? Are you just telling people please don't buy it as much? But Silver Edge.
I've always felt that recipe was oddly cheap anyway, so I'm like perfectly happy with Shiva's Guard being 650. That's fine. Yeah.
It's like
same for Silver Edge.
Silver Edge is like 200. I mean, at least this is like going to impact you for like longer than a second. Shiva's Guard's like, oh, I'm one creep short. Kill creep. I'm done now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Silver's Edge, I think this is like another one of those where it's like, it's encouraging you to just stay away, I guess. Making it 200 gold more expensive. I mean, it's already a pretty expensive item. So, it just takes a bit longer.
It's still so good though, because just because you can get your Silver's Edge up and then make that ultimate orb into something else. Yeah. So it's still so good.
Soul Ring now requires a mango instead of a 150 gold recipe, so Soul Ring is now,
I love this,
50 gold cheaper. That is actually a clever change. I really
love this. It encourages to buy the early mangoes, which increases your early game regen as is, which is to go with the slight nerf that's already happened to your early game regen, right?
Yeah.
So it encourages that, and also like you, in certain situations, you might you can either get a soul ring or pop a mango and get a kill, which is going to make for like really interesting situations. I'd go for the mango and kill every time, but well, yeah, I just like it. You don't have to go to the side shop, or you don't have to get the recipe at least from base. You can just get everything from.
You can pick up the mango, and other stuff can be carted in. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Urn of Shadows. Urn of Shadows heals now acts as proper regeneration like Salve rather than healing at frequent interval ticks. Okay. I suppose that's just more consistent. What is that?
Look at the change to the recipe.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to figure out like what's the difference there? Proper regen rather than frequent interval ticks. I don't know. That's a bit confusing. New recipe.
It's kind of weird though.
Yeah.
I wonder if that works the other way around as well. In that, if it's dealing damage, is it now like a constant?
Yeah, it might be how the
damage. Or?
Yeah, I think that's what I think you have like the basic idea there is that like proper regen. You could get those instances where it's in between ticks, so you take the damage, but then the heal comes in after that. So like you take damage and still keep the shadow or the heal on yourself. So now it's like it's constant. So if you take any damage, it gets cancelled.
Yeah.
So got a new recipe. Infused Raindrop. Okay. Again, encouraging people to not get ridiculous. Or to be more judicious with their usages or their early game purchases, I guess. Circlet. Ring of Protection and a recipe for 60 gold more, same cost. It now gives you 2 to all stats, 2 armor, and 1 mana regen. Instead of 6 strength.
Well, you can still get a couple of charges out of your infused raindrop and then turn it into an urn, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm wondering. Because if is that how this works? You get to 1 charge of your infused raindrop, drop it, and then make it into a.
Aren't infused raindrops not on a timer, but aren't they only so many of them in the shop anyway?
They start on cooldown, I think, isn't it? And they only become available 3 minutes in. So.
Oh, is that what it is? Fair.
Yeah.
We're going to see a lot more infused raindrops being purchased, though.
I think we're going to see a lot more interesting.
Which is good because we should be.
I think we're going to see a lot more interesting opening item builds, though. Like here, infused raindrop into circlet into ring of protection. Those are like 3 very, very cheap items. Recipe for 310 is not much, but then you get 2 to all stats, 2 armor, and mana regen, and a flat mana regen. So like that'll help. That actually is a better early game item than 50% mana regen, because you're getting a lot more, but it's crappier later as a result. So
pretty tanky with that though.
This is going to be beastly for supports though. Like for certain supports, this is going to be, you're going to hate them right now because they're getting a lot more mana regen. They get armor, so they're like more difficult to kill, and they gain additional stats. So you're gaining, increased HP regen already. You're gaining increased HP and additional armor from the agility, and they're gaining additional mana regen. So yeah, that's going to be difficult. Obviously they won't be getting infused raindrops early, but still.
But I do wonder if this affects. Not really. Hey, I was going to say I wonder if this at all affects a magic wand, because you're almost encouraged by a circlet now, opposed to a couple of ironwood branches.
Yeah.
Which obviously make a magic wand. So. I wonder if it'll have any. That's where we need a good little Knoxville with stats, see if it changes how frequently magic wand is picked up.
Yeah.
The magic one is probably actually too strong.
Probably.
Such a good item.
Okay, well, we're at the heroes now, so we're about an hour and 20 minutes in, so heroes, let's get to it. Alchemist, hit with the ugly stick. I'm so happy. Unstable Concoction, cooldown from 16 to 22, 20, 18, 16, so crappier at early levels, the same at the ultimate. Unstable Concoction, AoE increased, so just trying to cancel that a bit. Grievel's Greed, bonus gold reduced from 6, 8, 10, 12 to 4 at all levels. That is a hellacious nerf. His bonus per stack has gone from 3 to 4, which is still pretty significantly down. And then his bonus cap is rescaled from 12, 20, 28, 36 to 16, 20, 24, 28. So pretty much nerfs all around to his ability to farm and fight early. That's quite a few nerfs there. Like really, they're just trying to get him out of play because he was a bit just ridiculous at times.
But does this seem like too much? I mean, because you don't want Alchemist to be gone. You want him to be viable.
I want him to be gone. I want him to be gone.
I think with the changes, to jungle and the fact that jungles now can be stacked again for him quite quickly.
Yeah.
With every minute, I think that will do enough to compensate for him to actually still get enough play and get enough out of his Greevil's Greed for it to still be effective, Devin. So I don't think you need to worry too much.
Yeah. Like he's got more opportunity to farm, but he farms less as such. Like it's worth less to him, but he gets more type thing. So it's sort of the main thing is.
So actually, I agree with you guys, especially about the jungle point. Didn't consider that, but he definitely needed to be adjusted quite severely because he would have just been a god if he was left.
No, I like this.
Even with a small nerf.
Yeah. No, this is definitely necessary. Ancient Apparition, I actually like these changes. Attack range increased from 600 to 675. That's actually pretty big if we consider that he can now wreck you from pretty large distance. Ice Vortex movement speed modifier has a positive effect on Ancient Apparition. I love that change because now you can actually use Ice Vortex in two ways. You can either drop it underneath you to get an additional bonus speed, or drop it under the opponent to slow them down. So that actually encourages like more aggressive play out of an Ancient Apparition. So I like that change.
Yeah.
This also encourages people being good, because a lot of like newer players, what they'll do is they'll be running away from somebody. Instead of dropping the Ice Vortex in front of themselves, they'll drop it behind them in front of the player that's going after them. So they do that like turn circle, and obviously you're actually moving slow away from your opponent. Yeah. So this is actually a nice thing to encourage players being better, because they're going to now start putting it in front of them, so they run over it and have the same effect. So I kind of like things that make people better. So I like this.
Replaced respawn
also,
talent.
You can be surfing, and that's great. Ice surfing. Let's go.
Somebody
needs to make a custom map. Just go make a custom map right now. Ice surfing.
Replaced respawn talent plus 8% Ice Vortex slow resistance. Okay, that's just kind of like encouraging people to use Ice Vortex a bit more. So yeah, I think that's a worthy change. Axe. This was just stupid. Reworked Scepter on Axe causes Battle Hunger to reduce enemy total damage output by 30%. Applies Battle Hunger on enemy heroes within a 700 AoE of a successful Cutting Blade. Like, this is just... Can you imagine this thing in a fight? It is going to be hell on earth if Axe jumps in and gets like even one successful Cutting Blade. It's like, fight's done, boys. Let's just go home.
Does this make like Darkseer Axe a thing?
No, this makes anything a thing with Axe, because he just has to get the Culling Blade. And then if you're in an AoE anywhere near him, your total damage output. So Lina, 30% less damage on ulti. Lion, 30% less damage on ulti and Earth Spike and everything, if I'm reading that correct.
No, well, because I'm thinking about this, right? So anything that we can draw heroes, because I think what will happen is players will obviously learn, they'll start moving away from... Because 700 AoE is not big. Right, things like VS attack range. I mean, that's slightly larger, but you know, it's a lot of heroes will be able to hit the axe and not actually take the Culling Blade debuff. So if you call something with axe and people are trying to hit that axe, and you time the Culling Blade with the vacuum, it's actually huge, because then you're just breaking a team's
but I mean, remember, good axe is already getting 2-3 people in the call. So if he gets one of them with the Culling Blade, I mean, the other two are just wrecked straight up. For the entire duration of a Battle Hunger. Do you know how long that skill lasts? That is just, I don't know. Yeah. I think this is a bit too strong, in my opinion. I think this is a bit too strong. But we'll see.
No, come on. It's like instant. They have to kill a creep. That's all they have to do. You have to kill a creep and the Battle Hunger is gone. So it's like if a CM's casting an ultimate next to. But
what I'm saying is, like, in the middle of a fight, he hits you with the Battle Hunger. Like, remember, like, the Battle Hunger, there's two parts to this, because it applies Battle Hunger on enemy heroes within the 700 AoE after a successful Culling Strike. But once he has the Scepter, he just has to cast Battle Hunger on a hero, and they get reduced by 30% in damage. So you cast, blink, call, spin, wreck one guy, half of the team is now 30% bonus damage, or 30% damage reduced. That is just, I don't know, that's stupid.
It's nice.
That is stupid. That is way too strong.
But no, I've lied. Never mind.
I mean, the thing as well is it's damage output, right? So we're assuming it's magic damage, etc. as well. So even if you are like a spellcaster, think about something like Nina, right? You can often almost anticipate that if you were to drop like a dragon slave down, that you'll probably kill a creep, but now you probably don't. So that's pretty bad.
This is I think like I love the idea, but I think it's too strong. Like if that was say 20% or 15%, I think it would be a little bit more reasonable. But 30% is like rough, especially in the middle of a fight when you can't necessarily get rid of the battle hunger. But yeah, we'll have to see.
I just really hope it doesn't work on creeps, because that is pretty ridiculous. If you can...
No, it just says successful Culling Blade. So if a creep's there, you hit the creep with Culling Blade, it's done.
No, because that seems pretty ridiculous, actually. I mean, you do obviously lose the opportunity to...
Oh, that'll be fun.
But that just seems pretty broken.
Bane. Reworked Bane's Scepter. Causes Brain Sap to have a 1.5 second cooldown and piercing spell immunity. What the actual? Like, Bane is one of my favorite heroes. This is just gonna be... Can you imagine that? Oh, I do pure damage through spell immunity on a 1.5 second cooldown. And isn't it like... He's got the one talent that makes you do like 400 damage with a Brain Sap?
Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine that poor old... like
Oracle and Bane. Just Oracle and Bane just wrecking somebody. Like this carry is like... Boys, I got all my items coming in, and then Bane and Oracle just wreck him.
That Bane is going to need an OD next to him if he ever wants to have enough mana to be able to do any sort of combination where he's just like brain sapping his life, the life of an enemy team.
Like this thing is going to be horrible, and like
it's going to be 1 billion mana to do that effectively.
But still, call Bane. Let's see it, please.
I want it so badly.
Mid lane Bane. I don't even want to know what that's going to be like.
Mid Bane, exactly.
Richard, Bane. I'm disappointed in you, because that was a thing once. That actually was a thing.
It was a thing once, I know.
Okay, Bane, Agi, int growth, matched, increased by 0.3. That's just the whole, like, the whole Ice Frog thing that all his stats have to be the same. I've never understood why it has to be, but it is, and that's just the way the hero is.
It has to be, and it's fine.
Yeah. So basically just buffs. Fiend's Grip deals damage every 0.5 seconds instead of every 1. That's also a pretty big buff, since now like the longer the guy is in, you actually have to save him quicker because he'll still be taking damage. So yeah, Bane basically just buffs all the way. I mean, the Scepter is unlikely, but it's still going to be fun to see. Beastmaster. Wild Axe's cast range increased from 13 to 1500. That is obscenely far. Wild Axe's mana cost rescaled from 120 to 115, 110, 115, 120, so better at early levels, and then replaced respawn talent with +1 boar summoned. I think +1 boar is a little bit underwhelming at level 15, but depending on how the game is going, that could be pretty good. But again, I think buffs all around to Beastmaster.
Yeah.
Also, once again, more experience, less money does mean that that's probably a little bit stronger than it would have been. But I agree with you; it's still pretty underwhelming.
Yeah, like +1 boar. I think if it'd been maybe like the boars do more damage or the boars slow is increased, maybe. Because like what you're getting 2 boars usually, and now you'll get 3.
So bearing in mind, I'm assuming that you actually have to summon it 3 times as well. You're not. So you're not. It's not like 3 pops.
No,
in fact, I would probably say
+1 boar. No, +1 boar summon. I think this is like you get 2 when you summon them.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, no. All right. 4 boars. Yeah, okay, no. That's actually worth it. Okay, that's worth it.
Strong, yeah.
Yeah, that's worth. Bloodseeker, Bloodright cooldown from 25, 21, 17, 13 to 18, 16, 14, 12. That is a severe buff on level 1. That is a 7-second difference. That is pretty big. And then they gave it a better cost point. So, hello Bloodseeker, I guess, maybe?
I mean, we say this quite often, but I don't think this hero ever really is, like, a big deal.
He's the bane of pubs and, like, the... Like, he had that one brief period at pro level where he was just everywhere, and then he was gone again. But, I mean, I think, like, this kind of buff might bring him back. Like, I don't think he's terrible enough that, like, he'll never be played. I think he just needs a buff like this to maybe have somebody try him out, and if he succeeds, then maybe we'll see him a bit more.
I guess we'll see. I almost feel like this is. I don't know. Like I feel like this hero is inherently broken, like not in a good way. So I mean, this might just be a case of like if you give the thing enough stats, eventually it'll be picked up, right?
Yeah.
But it just seems like the hero itself is wrong for Dota. It probably needs like an actual fix opposed to just making its stats better.
Yeah, something like that. Bounty Hunter. Fixed Shuriken Toss Scepter interrupting the chain if one of the targets is spell immune. What? Fixed Shuriken Toss Scepter interrupting the chain if one of the targets is spell immune. So I suppose it's just a buff, but I don't really...
I don't really understand what they're saying.
Yeah, like, it's obviously a bug that's happening.
Yeah.
So let's assume it now works as intended, and I guess move on.
Yeah,
correct.
it seems like. Brewmaster, yet another hero that has been getting buffs for like the last 6 months. Drunken Haze, cast point reduced from 0.3 to 0.2. Drunken Haze cast duration increased from 4 to 4.5. Hurl Boulder, cast point reduced from 0.4 to 0.25. Drunken Brawler, crit increased from 200 to 230. Replaced respawn talent with plus 2 seconds Thunderclap slow at level 20. Thunderclap is already ridiculously strong. Now you're going to give it an extra 2 seconds.
Yeah, basically, please pick this hero. Anyone besides OG and lose horribly. Was it OG that picked Brewmaster once?
I think IG's played
I thought
it.
it was S4.
I think IG's played it a couple of occasions. Yeah, S4
like
played it
S4
at
fed
the major, but he was a dumpster on it, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this hero has just been getting buffs forever. Like,
if you buff this hero for long enough, the Asians are going to start to pick him again, and there's a reason that they were frightening on this hero to begin with.
This is like the only mid laner I can.
Before Valve.
This is like the only hero I can play to a reasonable degree of proficiency, and like that, this hero is stupid when you start getting, like, people are like, it's a tiny buff, yeah, but it's gonna get mad if you add everything up. Like, this is gonna be crazy.
Well, just to give you like really think about this, right? I don't know how many people actually play Brewmaster, but there will be some that would at least be familiar with this. Is think about when you throw that boulder, how long it takes your Earth Panda to keep moving. Yeah. It's actually a long time. It feels like, and there's a lot of missed damage. And this is, I wouldn't say negligible, but it's certainly you're going to notice that.
But you crit
in a big
more
way.
now,
And the rest is all passive, but in a big way, because well, firstly, Drunken Haze is, if you can use Drunken Haze, well, it's
yeah, no, Drunken, this hero
awesome.
in mid lane is going to be like the highest order of cancer, because he casts his spell quicker and it lasts longer, and he's got more melee melee creeps to hit now, and he can deny the absolute shit out of you. Like, this is going to be horrible to play against in mid lane.
I'm pretty sure this is in now.
Yeah,
and also once again, less money, more experience, so you're getting your high level pandas.
And there's buffs to like mana. There's buffs to mana regen, which he needs early game.
I mean, I would not be surprised if this is the
hero of the patch.
This patch. Yeah.
Right.
I would be
there's still some coming. There's still some coming that you have to see and marvel at the ridiculousness.
I think we're going to see Phantom.
We're on the bees. We're on bees here. Yeah. We've got an entire alphabet to go.
Bristleback. This is also stupid. 10% spell lifesteal instead of the respawn talent at level 20.
Immediately, that's what we're talking about. That is delicious. Now that with an octarine. Oh my goodness.
I don't even want to know. It's gonna be like
disgusting.
You can have like 5 people wailing on a bristleback, and it's like, but I just can't. I just can't. And he's just gonna turn around and he's gonna take an absolute dump on heroes with this.
Oh, it's going to be incredible.
I assume that works with his passive as well.
Yep. Spell lifesteal. So every spell that he casts that does damage, he now gains 10% of that life. Remember, in the middle of a fight, he's spraying quills forever.
But so we agree that when he's gonna get the lifesteal off his like actual bristleback spell.
Yeah. Yes, he is, because those are counted as casts of the spray.
Right. Yeah. No. That's pretty big. I mean, think how the thing I think is scariest about that is so once when you're playing up against a Bristleback that's had a really good game, they are nightmares to take down. You gang them with your team, and then you still get hurt, right? And
well, no,
I feel
your
like
team
this gives
limps
them
out
longevity
as the
into the
Bristleback
late
walks
game.
off.
Because before you get to the point where you can just burst enough damage down to actually kill them, but now it almost like gives them more late game prowess.
The problem is
Nice.
they've buffed the jungle, so you can stack the jungle for him now, so he can get to level 20 quicker.
Oh no, I mean just in
Delicious.
general. So regardless of that, right? Even if he was at the same pace, this makes him a better late game hero. Where I think Bristleback he can become a tyrant at sort of mid and early, and then he sort of falls off a bit. But now
I'll say that
late.
If my good friend Reanimated was still playing Dota and he saw this, he would be like spamming this thing non-stop in every puppy he could. This hero is just going to be filthy with that 10% lifesteal. And I mean, he's got a whole bunch of buffs. He gains increased life regen now as well. He gets a little bit more strength. So it's party time. Bristleback, basically. Chaos Knight, Reality Rift cast point reduced from 0.4 to 0.3. Reality Rift cooldown from 24 to 18, 18 to 14, 12 to 10, and 6 to 6. So better at early game, better at the early levels. Same at the last level. Chaos Strike increased from 65 to 75% lifesteal. Phantom illusion damage taken from 200 to 260. So just basically killing his illusions, but making everything else stronger.
Yeah, because his illusions were ridiculous.
Yeah. Does Chaos Knight actually see much play these days? I don't think so.
I feel like it was picked at like once or twice at Kiev.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think to any great success. It's still got the same problems as before. Like, it needs so much farm to be useful, and its ulti is on such a long cooldown that it kind of just like defeats the purpose of picking it up.
Yeah, I'm still feeling like he's trying to pump this hero as like a support hero, like a roaming Chaos Knight that can Reality Rift and stun around.
That makes illusions.
That's the late game potential with the potential Agnums upgrade as well. So
yeah, exactly.
But the problem is that illusions also nerfed. So
you can lead a horse to water. That's all I'm saying. Chen, this hero is absolutely stupid. Hero, Holy Persuasion, cooldown reduced from 30, 26, 20 to 18 to 10. 10. Replace respawn timer with plus 1000 creep health. I don't even want to know.
Much of them of the rock golems. Like, that's what this is going to be.
This is just horrible. It's like you replaced...
Amazing.
You replaced illusions on buildings with chain creeps, essentially. I don't know. This is going to be horrible. This is like, I love chain, but this is good.
Levels fast, actually. Yeah. Early on. So that 20 isn't unreasonable. And yeah, it's going to be a power spike for your team.
Dear Lord, that is going to be horrible to face. It's going to be fighting creeps all day. It's like, since when did Dota become a PvE game? Clinks. Deathpack cooldown increased from 45, 30, 15 to 85. That is one hellacious nerf. Especially because...
I wonder why... I just wonder why he was so upset about this spell. I have to change it to 85 seconds.
No, but read next.
Yeah,
this
but
is a quality
Deathpack duration increased from 35 to 65. No, but here's the difference, Devin. When it was 45, 30, 15, right, you could get away with just having it up constantly. Because if you look at that, you basically had 5 seconds uptime on it from level 2. Now you have 20 seconds downtime at all levels. And you can't...
I think to me the biggest concern is you get less money.
Yeah.
But
and remember, like, this is a massive nerf to him because now the creeps spawn more often, right? So you obviously had to change it, but to go and like make it for, like, if you aren't clever about how you use your Death Pact runs out in the middle of a fight, you are boned in a big way. Like Clinks, I don't know why Clinks got hit with a truck, but
and not just because you're Clinks. Hey.
Yeah, it's just like,
Couldn't resist that.
Somebody hates Clinks at Valve. Because this is a bit ridiculous.
I really do feel that it happens, though. I do feel that you get some guy has a bad game. It's like, this here is clearly broken. I need to fix this right now. Just like walks into his office and starts applying nerf.
Don't worry.
Thank you, random player probably has like a 4 in his name. You know, thank you for ruining Clinks for everyone. I guess I agree with you guys. I'm not against the concept of this though. I quite like the idea of Clinks having to do this less. Because it is a lot of admin.
Like, this kind of increases, like, the skill cap on the hero, because you have to be clever at how you use Death Pact, rather than just, creep, spam. So...
You see, how I would have preferred this is that you got, like, that almost performed a little bit like a Midas, that you got more money for using Death Pact.
No, that would be dumb. Let's not go down that route.
No, hear me out. That you effectively get more money for using Death Pact, right? But the trade-off is that if you die, well, you don't come back with the Death Pact. So, and then have the same cooldown effectively. So it's less admin, you get the same out of it. But then the payoff is that if you die, well, you're potentially weak for 65 seconds potentially, or let's say 75 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a bit ridiculous.
Sure.
Clockwork replaced respawn talent with plus 40 battery assault damage. I mean, does battery assault really make that much difference after the early game?
It's quite a lot. But it's like level 20. By that stage of the game, it's...
Yeah, like, Clockwork has either won the game or he's useless at that stage. So, I don't know. I think they're possibly... This might be one of the weaker respawn talent replacements. Crystal Maiden... Finally getting nerfs. Freezing Field cooldown rescaled from 90 to 110, 190. Okay, that's pretty much just normal. I mean, Freezing Field is rarely used in every fight anyway, since she tends to die as soon as she turns it on. Fixed Freezing Field not interrupting targets. Okay, I guess that's a buff by fixing a bug that shouldn't be in the game. Replaced respawn talent plus 50 freezing field damage at level 20. That is a hope and a dream for most Crystal Maidens, so I suppose it's a buff, but not a very valuable one.
Yeah. More damage on her ulti if it hits things. Sure. Great.
Yeah, at level 20. Darkseer, Wall of Replica.
Late game CM.
Yeah, late game CM. Darkseer, Wall of Replica slow, rescaled from 1 second to 0.6, 0.8, and then 1. I mean, most of the time Darkseers tend to get the 2 levels of... What is the current build for Darkseer? Do they still pick up the wall at 8 and then the next one at 11?
But I don't know if that's even relevant now, because once again you're getting more experience. So do people then change the way that they build anyways?
Well, I mean, Darkseer is going to be sitting in the jungle more often. He gets less XP out of there, and he's got a better off lane.
I think the big thing is, it is viable to pick up your sort of ulti later anyways, so it's probably not that big a difference.
Yeah. It's not that massive of a difference.
It's a nerf, but I don't think it's a huge nerf.
Yeah, it's another one that is just like trying to lessen his popularity type thing more than anything else. I love this next one. Reworked Dazzle Scepter causes Shallow Grave to be a 450 AoE spell. So, Darkseer, get absolutely wrecked, mate. Get absolutely wrecked. Your War-Vac combo now means nothing in the face of a team-wide Shallow Grave. I love that. I really do love that. That is going to be so much fun.
Amazing. I think that
we're going to see some cool things.
It's going to be so good.
Okay, I mean,
it's going to be so good.
Dazzle does require a scepter, and because there's no elk, it's much less likely to happen, but still. It is going to be fun to see someone rush a scepter just so that you have that ridiculous AoE Shallow Grave against Darkseer type thing. Replaced respawn talent plus 25 poison touch DPS. That's actually pretty strong. Poison touch is one of those like skills that you don't realize the DPS that it does until you die from it, or you realize you've lost like half of your HP. Now it is at level 20, so that is also kind of very, very far away. So.
Yeah, it is. It's a long climb.
Yeah, but I mean, it's 25, 7 seconds? So, it's about 180 damage. That's that's pretty significant also for level 20.
Yeah.
Disruptor replaced respawn talent plus 40 Thunderstrike damage at level 15. I mean, is Thunderstrike
That's pretty good, actually.
I was just wondering, like, isn't it a bit late? Because Thunderstrike is really good early, but it kind of falls off in damage.
Maybe not now anymore.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. I'd like to actually see
I think
how much
it
that
makes
changes.
the skill decent. Like, that's how I feel. Like, it takes a skill that's probably underpowered to make it okay.
Doom. Scorched Earth healing damage rescaled from 10, 20, 30, 40 to 16, 24, 32, 40. So same at the ultimate level, better at the early game. Buffing an offlaner, I guess, is what the thing is there. Devour mana cost rescaled from 60 to 40, 50, 60, 70. Removed critical strike from small wolves in the jungle. Attack damage increased by the same amount to give you basically the same level of damage overall. Yeah, buffs to
Correct.
Doom. So
Yay, Doom.
Yeah.
Buffs to Doom, yeah.
Lucy Shelby.
Doom's definitely, I think, is going to see play.
Yeah. How much?
I feel like this hero's getting buffed again and again and again and again and again.
I think like it remains to be seen how effective he is, since he still does the same thing though. Like, these are not like buffs to his damage numbers as such, except for the Scorched Earth.
Liquid sort of were onto the idea, but I don't think they.
The problem is, like, he still suffers. He still suffers the same problems. He's still good at the same things and suffers the same problems. So that's the thing. And it's like, it's not like he doesn't have a buff. Like, it's not a buff to his peak stats. It's like his early stats. So he's still the same at the same level. So. And he's not a particularly fast, like, he doesn't really do a hell of a lot early, you know, he's not like a Darkseer that can TP around and cause all sorts of pain for you, but, I mean, we'll see. Certainly an interesting
I do think
change.
the mana cost is quite nice, though. Like the mana cost is probably the biggest difference, but in principle I agree with you. But it does make him just, I guess, a little bit more viable. I mean, he is kind of a hero that you're picking up for a very specific purpose, and I guess he's just a little bit better at performing that purpose now.
Mm-hmm. DK, Elder Dragon form, frost attack slow increased from 20 to 30. Pretty good, I'd say, overall. That's pretty potent.
Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice.
And he's going to get a lot more XP now, because he's a mid laner traditionally, so... Yeah, that's definitely going to help out.
Approved, yeah. EK.
Drow Ranger. Frost arrows are no longer a unique attack modifier because
absolutely broken and ridiculous. I think that's my first initial reaction to that. What are you?
I agree, but can I make it worse? Can I make it worse? Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone. I know I've harped on about this, but I do think it is, like, to me, the overall, like, the biggest trend here, right? But so think the Drow of a couple of patches ago, right? You had that soft cap of winning the game in 25 minutes, and then winning it at 75 minutes again, if you can stall for that long, right? But now, it's almost like your soft cap's improved because, well, you're getting more XP but less, you're getting less items, but then she's also better with items. So it's almost like you have more time to win with Drow, and then she'll come online earlier because she has more options available.
This is like a massive buff to her mid game, because now she can actually buy items that'll help, like, I mean, Deso. So she already wrecks towers. Well, now you're going to give her minus armor on the towers because reasons. And she can pick up a Skadi.
She can ags Deso and wreck an entire team.
I don't know. This is going to be horrible. This is going to be horrible.
Think about it. Just let it wash over you like a wave. Just think about all those beautiful sort of Desolator and the Purge, or some Lifesteal, or a Skadi.
Oh, that sounds great, right? You're trying to run away from a Drow and it purges you. That's going to be fun. And it's actually a really... And honestly, that actually sounds like a pretty good item on Drow.
But the thing is, you already can't run away from Drow because her Frost Arrows slow you. Now she's going to be burning your mana and reducing your armor because she's going to have a Desolator and a Diffusal. That is just... I don't even want...
And it's cheap agi items, like cheap build-up. So it's quite nice for
exactly. Well. It is just let that sort of thought wash over you like a wave, and then realize that it's going to be disgusting, and you probably don't want to live in that world for much longer.
Excuse me, ask Prophecy. We cast a lot during that draft.
Actually, you love Draw Ranger, so you will thrive in this world.
Me? No, friend. You can ask. There have been many rages, many random sort of 2 a.m. messages that Prophecy has received on Skype saying Draw Ranger is broken. And
like, fuck this hero. Please get rid of it.
It's back, boys, and it's better than ever. We'll get more cosplayers out of it.
Yeah, seems like it. Earth Spirit replaced respawn talents, geomagnetic grip targets allies. This was what he originally came out with. What level is this though? I'm confused. When does he get this though? Because they don't give it. I mean, Earth Spirit hasn't been played a lot. So what level would this have been? Oh, it's level 25. Okay, so you can either choose 300 rolling boulder damage or the geomagnetic grip targets allies. I suppose targeting allies probably the better one here.
Yeah, well,
that's what I feel anyway.
Out of trouble. Yeah, I agree. You pull the core out of trouble.
Yeah,
it's just better. But getting 25 on.
Yeah, on Earth is unlikely anyway, so...
Yeah.
Earthshaker, a couple of buffs. Enchant item has True Strike. That is going to be fun.
Crit Shaker, friend, it's real. The dream is real.
And then replaced...
Call Shakers, friend, it's coming.
Replaced respawn talent, 350 Fisher range at level 20. That is actually not beyond the realms of reason, because Earthshaker has been played as an offlaner in the past.
And... 350 plus 350 range. That is a long stun.
Yeah, he can attack you from miles away now.
Yeah,
that is not
good. Another game, I suppose.
Pretty much.
At the end of the map, and somebody else.
He's going to stun, and someone in League of Legends is
stun.
You can't stun in League of Legends. You can only knock them up. Remember that. Elder Titan. Astral Spirit, hero bonus damage increased from 12, 24, 36, 48 to 15, 30, 45, 60. Please give Elder Titan so many buffs that he is an unstoppably broken hero. Earth Splitter Radius increased from 300 to 315 and replaced respawn talent to 200 mana. Elder Titan is one of my favorite heroes. I do like everything is good on this hero right now.
Yeah. No, he's strong. And also, I think when they made the change to Ancestral Spirit or Astral Spirit to split the auras is quite nice. So I think he's fairly balanced in that regard.
Yeah.
And all I want in the world right now is to see a refresher Elder Titan in a competitive game and just break the hearts because of consider the damage output. He does percentage-based damage, so he can just absolutely destroy. You can destroy a team. It's a huge amount of damage you can output.
Dude, a refresher Elder Titan is the thing of dreams.
Yeah, but it can happen, boys. The dream is alive.
I'm sure it has happened.
It can happen, but I mean, saying that is like the same thing as a Crystal Maiden carrying an entire game from the mid lane. It's not likely.
A lot of Dota's played Prophecy. There is the possibility.
I'm not talking about 1k MMRs.
Also, he could be a offlaner. He's done in the past, so it's.
I still think that's not going to happen.
Even more reasonable. Just let me have this one.
I'm not going to argue. There's no point arguing with idiots. Enchantress, base intel. Enchantress, base intel increased by 2. Enchant slow duration from 5.5 to 2.25. That is pretty vicious, though. Like the decrease, but then it's accounted by the enchant slow from 20 to 55. And then replaced respawn talent at level 25 with impetus damage. She can actually reasonably hit level 25. What do you guys think of this? The enchant slow, though.
I think it's because it's kind of is the same distance, right?
Well, you're much slower, but for much less time.
Much less.
Yeah. So over that period, you'll probably move the same sort of distance. I guess that's one thing. So it's kind of the same in that regard.
I think a 6-second 55% slow at max level is pretty disgusting.
That is
that is
super
pretty
disgusting. But I mean, like previously
and
it
then
was
you have the drow
5.5.
hitting you with Skadi and frost arrows will be good.
I think it gives
you
a
actually have to
slightly
walk
better.
towards the enemy so you can move backwards.
Oh,
I think it's actually I actually like it because
just reminds
it's
me, guys.
more like you have more chance of getting in range with the stun creep.
That
if you're
just reminded me.
Smoking into gank and mid, you know what I mean?
Yeah, guys, remember Enchantress? Deso is no longer a unique attack modifier.
That is correct.
Although isn't it Impetus Pure already? So
it is good.
You're not getting a huge amount of value out of it.
It's still going to be horrible. It's going to be terrible. I don't even want to know. You're reducing his armor on top of doing insane amounts of pure damage to him, dude. And remember, Enchantress is an Intel-based hero. How many items have been buffed for Intel-based heroes this game?
Well, I mean, hey, and then let's go there, and there's more neutral creeps on the map. So Enchantress looking pretty solid.
Yep. Enigma +1 Malefice instance. Okay.
Yay.
Level 20. Okay.
Is that right up there with the good old healing salve? I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, Malefice is a pretty irritating spell to wear.
Yeah, but that seems like very much like here, have a cookie. That's pretty much
Enigma will get to level 20.
Yeah.
So I mean, it might make a difference in one game that we might see in a tournament and at some point.
But definitely irritating.
Probably not.
It's definitely going to irritate people though.
Yeah.
And it also is quite irritating for channelers because it does mean that there's actually quite a long time where you're effectively disabled because you just, eventually I'll cast this spell. So it is. I actually don't mind this. I think it's better than it might look.
Yeah, but like I said, I think Enigma, the reason why they gave this to Enigma is because he's already strong, and you don't want to give him something completely ridiculous. So you just kind of give him something
black hole radius.
Yeah. So you just kind of here, have a Malefice instance, and then we'll just ignore you for the rest of the thing. This is actually a nerf, I think. This the respawn talent.
I think his other spells are quite good enough. Yeah.
Faceless Void, time dilation slow per affected cooldown increased from 10 to 14%.
That's nice.
That's pretty good. Again, it's he is a bit more viable now since they've he can probably farm the jungle more reliably, and the creeps are closest to his tower, and he's got a whole bunch of items that he can now pick up that'll help him a bit. So Faceless, I think Faceless might see a return to play. Chidawi's gonna love this. He's gonna love this a lot. Gyrocopter movement speed increased from 315 to 320. Homing missile initial delay reduced from 3 to 2.5. This seems like support gyro. This really just screams support gyro to me. But again, I don't know if this is enough to actually get him to be played. Because homing missile, I mean, you rarely see people skilling it early unless they doing that horrible mid lane build where it's I'm just going to homing missile you every 5 seconds.
I think this also is kind of one of the problems with Gyrocopters. He effectively got nerfed when they changed the way Dota worked because he couldn't get stats anymore.
Yeah.
So he needs probably a little bit more love.
Yeah, he was one of those carries that needed stats but wasn't an illusion-based carry. And when they removed his stats, it was kind of well, no, you're just junk. So yeah, I don't see this going. This is not enough to bring him into competitive. I don't think.
Yeah.
You'll maybe see a random gyro support pop out of the cracks, but I can't see anything else. This is not enough to do anything for me. Huskar, life break, leaf speed increased from 1,000 to 1,200. I don't really always understand speed increases on projectiles, but okay. Huskar gets slightly faster through the air. And his life break damage slightly reduced at the beginning, better at the slightly easier to deal with at the beginning, harder to deal with at the end. Is Huskar played that much, or are they just scared that something's gone?
Not really.
He's still a monster pocket pick though. He really is.
This makes him a little bit better in the later stages of the game. 42% life break is serious.
Yeah, but he takes the same amount though. That's the issue. So
But there are things that kind of some way almost offset that, like the change to heart. I don't know if that is good enough.
I don't think so. Like, the problem is Huskar's not really the kind of hero that buys heart.
The thing is, I think more so Husker is a pocket pick already, so
Yeah.
It probably just to me this would make him more of a pocket pick, because when you're playing a Husker, your plan is to get your attack speed up and have some way to sustain him with low HP.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
Low HP faster.
Yeah, like I don't understand the first buff though. Like leap speed increased. Like what?
Because he's
Like-
Roman Reigns now, man. He's just Superman punching people.
I don't know how many people would actually understand that, but
But if you do, I tip my hat to you, friend.
except I don't know. This thing just doesn't make a lot of sense. This Huskar. Like this just seems like a please pick me up kind of buff. Like hi, I'm still here. Here we go. TI3.
Oh, this is beautiful.
TI3 and the horrible, horrible dreams you will have of tether stuns back in the day.
But I love this. I mean, if he gets 25, why not? And that's cool.
Dude, do you know how filthy an IO tether stun's gonna be?
I know, it's horrific. I mean, imagine with this Husker. Tether to that fast-moving Husker. Let's go.
And the thing is, remember, he's now a mid laner, where traditionally the mid laner, the duo mid lanes, which now have increased experience, denies. That's pretty much what IO does in the mid lane. And they have extra creeps, and they now have the jungle resetting every 1 minute, so the stacks are coming big time. IO is back, boys.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more IO.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
And it's also, I think, almost as like a side effect, because there are more jungles, you're probably going to find people alone in the map a little bit more as well. So IO is probably king of the world right now.
Yep.
He has to get to
still
level
does
25.
not have an Arcana.
Yeah, no.
He still
Like,
doesn't have an Arcana. That's the biggest problem here.
do you really want people to be playing IO
Yes,
because
I
they have
do.
an Arcana?
Yes,
Do-
I do.
do you want to live in that
IO is
world?
an amazing hero.
Do
I
you
want
want
to
to
live
live
in
in
that
that world where a 1k player plays IO because he has the Arcana, and then you just sit there like, dude, what are you doing? You are 0 for 25.
I mean,
I'm
do you want
helping.
to live in a world where you have to play with a 1k player anyway?
You know what?
So
You know
1K
what?
players, so-
I would actually, because then at least people would actually be playing IO to begin with.
IO's a fun hero. The problem is you just don't see him at the lower levels. And like he's such a very specialized hero that like he's a specialized hero, like only certain players play him. Like the Chinese for some reason just do not play IO all that much.
Also, sorry, I just gotta go back to that Arcana, because you know what Arcana you can give them? You know there's that, like, have you ever seen those little memes where they have like the coffee mug and it has like the happy eyes on them? You can just put happy eyes on IO.
That would be terrible.
It'd be so good. It'd be so good. So why don't I see it in my life?
Anyway, back to another one of my favorite heroes, Jakiro. Dual Breath starts radius from 200 to 225, 250 to 275 at the end, and his level 25. Macropyre is now pure and pierces spell immunity. Dear Lord, I do not want to be anywhere near Jakiro that gets to level 25, because that is actually possible. He is an offlaner. He has been known to Macropyre is already like one of the most buffed skills in the game. Can you imagine?
Ags, it's huge. It's a lot of area that you don't want to be standing in. So, I want to see it. It's just, I mean, I guess it's the one thing sad about these kind of patches. Is there's so many things you want to see, but you don't know if you will.
Yeah.
I guess this is one of these things that you want to see, but you don't know if you will.
Well, I mean, how many buffs has he gotten in this patch? He's a ranged spellcaster, intel based. He's pretty much caught every single buff.
Bad.
So yeah, no, I mean, the dual breath is nice, but it's not massive. But the respawn is like pretty huge. I'm sorry, the ulti on level 25, because like he's one of the supports that could reasonably get there, because you will give him that kind of time and space, and he farms pretty quickly as well. So that's reasonable. Keeper of the Light. The dirty old man gets 300 chakra magic mana at level 15. I mean, he's going to get it pretty quickly, so I suppose it's decent, but I'm not 100% certain. Don't think we're going to see much of him, though. Like, he'll pop up on occasions, but I don't think that's enough to, like, justify picking up the hero. Kunkka, Ghost Ship now always crashes where Kunkka targets it. This has been one of those things which I think has frustrated every single Dota player in the world at some point or another, where it's like, why does the Ghost Ship not land where I click? Why does it go past where I click? So that change is now good.
It's actually going to be quite strange to adapt now that it's going to target exactly where it hit. Like,
it's going to be logical now. It's going to make sense.
Yeah, it hasn't made sense since Kunkka started. That's like a remnant of an old Warcraft 3 thing.
Yeah, that was probably a bug that they were like, this makes sense. Let's just keep it. So yeah, that change I applaud, because finally it makes.
Sure. Yeah.
Legion Commander, overwhelming odds.
Sorry. Before we move on, when he casts with Ags, does that?
That'll still pull. That'll still pull to them to the site, which I think this is probably that's why they've made the change. Is that
so? In other words, beforehand, where you could, let's say you want to stick a bunch of people on a cliff, you could in the past overshoot, but now you won't.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like it makes sense now. Like where you click is where it ends, as opposed to previously where like you would click and then it would travel past. Which, like, you know, it's like one of those, like, what do they, like, they call it, like, fake difficulty. Like, it's not actual skill, it's just, it's a stupid thing that you had to remember, and if you forgot about it in the middle of a fight, it was just like, well, now I'm fucked, I guess. Legion Commander, overwhelming odds increased from 100 to 100, 110, 120, 130. Okay, that's just normal. I think Legion Commander has been very, very popular lately. Dual Scepter now grants spell immunity to your hero during duel. Yet another attempt to make this scepter worthwhile, and I don't think I've seen anybody really pick it up ever with any real success. How many buffs and changes has this scepter had, and nobody's cared ever?
Yeah, it's just a very strong hero, that's why.
The thing is, it's also really funny because I don't know how many times I've played games where LC picks up their Ags and everyone just, they've spent the entire game ulting the hero that gets dueled, and then everyone ulties it, and it's just, this was a mistake.
Well, I mean, look, it's how long is the ulti with the scepter? It's you fight until you die, isn't it? I don't know. They've changed this. They've changed this.
It had so many changes, but who cares? Like the scepter's bad, and it should feel bad.
I just want to check.
New scepter.
Okay, so scepter increases duel duration to 8 seconds and makes Legion Commander and her opponent only take damage from each other. Additionally, grants spell immunity to Legion. What? This is retarded. So she can only take damage from the person she's dueling with a scepter, but now she's spell immune. So literally, this is useful against OD.
Disables. It's useful against disables.
No, you can't.
Because that
you can. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
No, before you could disable the hero so that it couldn't kill your friend, or you could just use it and that kind of thing. So in that perspective, it's okay. Like I could see this happening in an environment where, let's say you're playing against something like a Sven and you have that blade mill up, and you could just make that Sven break himself on you, and then it kind of makes sense because you can't get heals up in there and stopped from doing it. So there is some reasoning behind that I'm okay with, but I just think the Aghanim is just so bad anyways, because you can just buy a BKB and then you have the same effect. Because, the duration's still there.
Yeah, it's just, like, it's a very expensive BKB for very little reason.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's bad and it should feel bad, and
that
should change.
Like,
the
scepter
needs... Just move on. It's not even worth discussing. It's just bad.
The next scepter I'm a little bit iffy about. I think it's actually a worse idea than previously. Leshrac reworked the scepter. While Pulse Nova is active every 1.75 seconds, Lightning Storm will hit one random unit within a 750 AoE. Prioritizes heroes. Like, I think
if you are within that Leshrac's range, because I do believe that he has a talent that increases the slow on that lightning to like pretty much its duration, right?
Let me just check quickly. I must be honest, like I'm still pretty bad at the talents. Talents, like learning the talents is a bit of a pain.
I'm pretty sure he's got a talent that increases that slow to the point that if a Leshrac is running at you and you are within range of that thing, there is very little chance of you being able to get out of his range once you get within it. Once
at level 25, he gets plus 3 seconds lightning storm slow duration.
Oh, so you can just run down 2 heroes now, potentially.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think.
See, I like the combination of that as a whole, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a clever build.
But it's a clever build, but I think it's actually made the scepter worse.
I think we'll have to see.
I guess
I think it might
like,
be
if
very
you work
strong.
out the damage, because you're like, losing damage for it.
The thing is, like, the other talent that you get at level 50 is plus 50 diabolic edict explosions.
Well, it also means that he has to. The Leshrac doesn't have to cast Lightning Storm while his Pulse Nova is active anymore to get the slow, right? Literally just has to pop his ulti and move, maybe throw a stun. Or unless he can double Lightning Storm, which is also disgusting.
I suppose so.
Yeah, actually, that does sound pretty strong. Hey, I mean, because you're going to bounce on a couple of people's Lightning Storm. They're becoming slow, and then you're potentially slowing them all for a long duration. And this has been a call before, so 25 isn't out of the question. And then you're running next to them. And
would you really take 3 seconds slow duration over 50 diabolic edict explosions? Because remember, like Leshrac is
going to call Leshrac.
Leshrac is essentially just like a siege engine. He just runs up to towers and you just watch them get vaporized.
But I don't think you're going to go for the Ags if you're not playing in that regard. Because if
it's
you're
like
doing
a combination of like Storm's. It could be Storm's ulti. I mean, not Storm's ulti. Potham's Argonum Scepter, and that it can get like a double Star Storm. Except this is a double Lightning Storm, right? And even before 25. He still gets the.
But it only hits one
off his Lightning Storm that he can cast. But I suspect that Lightning Storm is still going to chain off of things, right?
It says we'll hit one random unit. So it doesn't chain. If it chained, I would love it, but it's only hitting one random unit. Now it prioritizes heroes.
I would love to know if it chains or not, because if it chains, then
it can't, dude. If it chains. If it chains, that's just stupid. It's like, I'm gonna run out.
That's what I'm saying. Well, that's what I'm saying, because it needs to, because you're taking away a lot of massive AoE damage in the form of its old Argonum Scepter. So I would imagine that it would chain, right?
No, it can't chain, dude. If it chains, it's just
that's what
way too strong.
The spell says. That's what his spell says.
No, but it says we'll hit one random unit. And then Lightning Storm says summons a Lightning Storm that blasts the enemy target unit, then jumps to nearby enemy units.
Correct. So Lightning Storm will hit one random unit within 750 AoE, prioritizes heroes. So that means
it'll hit one, and that'll be the only one that gets hit. It's not going to chain. If that thing chains, dude, that is like one of the best scepters in the game. Then
let's see if I know. I see that Workham really is posting stuff about this.
Let's leave it at that then. I mean, that's I think a fair sort of assessment is that if that chains,
that's stupid.
pretty strong. If it doesn't change, I think it's okay. Like situation.
I think it's underwhelming. I think it's underwhelming.
I think if it doesn't chain, it's underwhelming. If it does chain, that's like amazing. AoE chaining slow. Oh yes.
Every 1.75 seconds because reasons. Lich chain frost slow increased from 50 to 65%. Another one of those I don't understand very much. Like it's already super strong, and it stacks with his other ones. So yeah, that's just I'm gonna go on past that. Lina.
A4 star. Moving on.
Lina replaced respawn talent plus 40 movement speed. That's actually pretty good. That is actually pretty strong.
She's going to be so fast if she's got stacks on her.
She buys Yules already very often. So she's getting bonus move speed there. Yeah, that's ridiculously strong. Your other option is plus 50 damage though. At level 15. So, I mean, the likelihood is it doesn't get picked up, but I could see a world where if you went full magic damage Lina, you could do that. Lion replaced respawn talent with plus 75 cast range at level 10. I think that's pretty good. It's not game breaking. It's not terrible. It's just decent. I mean, don't know what else to say. Lone Druid. it's just
thumbs
good.
up from me.
I mean, it's that or 60 damage at level 10.
Yeah.
Lone Druid, Rabbit attack speed increased from 10, 20, 30, 40 to 20, 30, 40, 50. Rabbit duration rescaled from 18, 22, 26, 30 to 25. Okay, so it's better at early, worse at late. Rabbit cooldown reduced from 45 to 35, so it's got less downtime overall. 10 seconds. Replaced respawn talent, 50% magical bear resistance. Yeah, are we going to see Lone Druid again? I think we are.
Yeah, I think this does maybe even get you that sort of loneliest druid again, but except, not cancer.
Not as bad. Not as bad. Yeah,
because I quite like the loneliest druid concept. It was fun, and it was also, I think, a little bit easier to play than a regular lone druid. So it would be nice to see it viable again, but also not, this
not everywhere.
Awful death. Yeah. It's just, it would be nice to see it, but on good players who are good with it, opposed to just everyone doing it because strong.
Yeah. Luna Lucent Beam cast animation reduced from 0.6 to 0.5. It's okay. It's not enormous. Don't think we're going to see a hell of a lot of Luna as a result of that, but we will see Luna, I think. Lycan replaced respawn talent with plus 12 feral HP regen. That's just a bit extreme, in my opinion. It's a bit crazy.
It's for level 15. That's amazing.
Yeah, that is very, very
mini
good.
hot. Vanguard plus that hot. There you go.
Yeah, pretty much. Magnus movement speed reduced from 315 to 310. Probably good idea. Reworked Magnus Scepter. This was a weird one. Shockwave comes back, hitting units the second time and applying 60% slow for 2 seconds. Distance and travel speed are increased by 50%. Return wave deals half damage to creeps. Reverse polarity no longer lasts an extra 1.25 seconds on creeps. I don't know why it ever did that. That made no sense. Replaced respawn talent, 500 skewer range, so he can charge in from further away, and then level 25 talent reduced or changed from 4 second shockwave cooldown to 15 armor. That is obviously to change the fact that if you picked up a scepter, you could hit obscene amounts of shockwaves from crazy far away.
Yeah.
I like his scepter. I think it gives it a lot more utility. And it's the fact that it does half damage to creeps, I think, is fine. But it gives it actual utility now. Like, it's not just junk. Because before it felt like junk.
But Mag also is one of those heroes where sometimes you just feel like having that sort of passive item on you is also quite nice. So I guess this is decent.
I mean, the problem is the previous Ags was that passive aura that gave you cleave, which was like,
oh yeah,
what? Like, it just didn't feel very good. So I think I like this change more. I like the scepter idea better. Although it remains to be seen how often it's going to get picked up.
Yeah.
I think just
I think the scepter is actually going to see. I think we might actually see play out of this scepter. I don't think we would have seen much of it out of the aura. Medusa. Added scepter for Medusa causes Mystic Snake to turn enemies to stone for 1 second, increases by 0.2 seconds per bounce. What the fuck?
Do you think this could make us see something like a I'm forgetting the item name of this one. Reduces cooldown.
Octarine.
Octarine. Do you think this is possible to see like a Octarine with Agnes Medusa?
No, I don't think so. I think Medusa's like. The problem with her is that not enough of her other spells work well with the Octarine core that it make it worthwhile. Plus, it also gives flat stats.
She also does have a long cooldown on her ultimate, and Ags does have some stats, and Octarine has some stats. So
Octarine's got crappy stats though.
Maybe
you don't buy Octarine for the stats though. That's the thing. Like, buying Octarine for the stats is, like, just a really bad idea. Because
it's pretty horrible, though. This is actually
flat
horrible.
HP.
If you get hit by this stuff, it is not nice.
Yeah, no, like, I mean,
Yeah,
I could see a world
with every bounce.
I could see a world where if you had a very farmed alchemist, Medusa would be one of the top priorities for a scepter, because you would hate life.
What is a max second stone if you are the last bounce?
It's 2 seconds.
No, it can bounce 6 times.
So it's 2.2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. That's a significant disable.
Yeah. Especially because
also everyone else.
Yeah.
Because
it's
like
not
that's
just you.
2.2 seconds that a Medusa is running towards you or getting in a place that she's able to actually cast her ulti and do it effectively, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I don't know. This is good because you're also taking damage from it, though. You're taking a 550 damage at level 4.
Yeah.
When you get hit by this.
I'm losing mana.
I can get behind it.
It's actually quite vicious. I don't know, because like this is one of those things where I kind of want to see, but not necessarily see it like become overpowered. But
yeah, like I want to see it, but not in a game against me.
It's also something to bear in mind that this also means she has a interrupt, which is a very irritating. This is paralyzing cask actually. She gets paralyzing cask with damage.
Except better because it does damage and it steals mana and it bounces like. It doesn't just bounce between 2 players. It bounces between like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I think we might see this.
Mirana base damage increased by 3. Starstorm second impact delay reduced from 1 to 0.8, so increased like farm essentially. Leap speed bonus reduced from 10 seconds to 5, but then your attack speed bonus is doubled at all levels. 64, which is pretty crazy.
A lot, eh?
At level 4, that's big.
What's the speed bonus on Moonshot?
That'll be 120, I think.
So it is like a consumed Moonshot, effectively.
Let me just check.
A hyper-finish kind of vibe.
Moonshot gives you 120, so it's consumed Moonshot essentially, yeah. With a leap.
I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, and it's an aura. So,
yeah, I mean it lasts. It doesn't last as long though. So that's the other thing. So you need to make more use of it.
Aggressively.
Or better, you need to make better use of it when you do have it. But I think this might.
I think we would all take the. I think we'd all take this. Like if you had to live in a world where you got the less move speed bonus but more attack speed, and in this sort of scale, I think we'd all take it.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, offlane Mirana maybe? Maybe she makes a return? Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Monkey King gets beaten with a stick even bigger than what Alchemist got hit with. Wukong's command no longer provides damage. It now gives you armor instead. 8, 14, 20, so a much more defensive ability. But it's seriously strong one at that. Wukong's command army no longer copy Bash or Abyssal. I think the entire world is happy. Wukong's command attack rate.
I mean, I can't. No, we just have to stop and say. Let us remember that this was one of the most broken things to happen in Dota 2 for quite a long time. Yeah. And this is why balance is good, children. This is why balance is good. Okay, if you've managed to get 2.5 hours into this video, balance is good. This is why you should get rid of the Basher / Abyssal, because that was broken.
Broken as hell. Fixed
but
monkey.
Is he not too weak without it?
Dude, I don't I think everybody in the world is like, fuck Monkey King. He can go live in whatever little cave he came out of again for the next 1,500 years. Fuck him. Because that was just stupid. Just cast an ulti, AoE. If you walk into it, get fucked. You're dead. Don't bother trying to get out. Dude, I've seen like ultra farmed carries walk into a Wukong's command from an underfarmed Monkey King and just get wrecked.
I'm kind of sad though, because I feel like I didn't get my pound of flesh out of Monkey King. I didn't play much of him, so I feel like I missed my opportunity. Damn.
Yeah. Well, continuing on with
you should have played him while he was broken.
Yeah, I should play while it's broken.
Fixed Monkey King carrying Urn of Shadows, sometimes wasting charges while Wukong's command is ongoing. Okay, that's a tiny buff to basically a fix. Fixed Tree Jump causing Monkey King to temporarily have bigger vision than the defined day-night values. Yeah, because he wasn't already broken enough with an ulti like that. He already had like...
He was literally broken.
Yeah, he was literally broken. He could see more while hopping across trees that you couldn't see him on, because...
He could.
Why not? Morphling, Adaptive Strike mana cost rescaled from 100, 90, 80, 70 to 80. I think that's just trying to encourage play with him and encourage early game fighting with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Morph is like... He was the kind of like the left out child of the illusion game. Like his illusions weren't enough and potent enough to like consider using in that aspect, I think.
Yeah.
But this might bring him back. Might. The Naga Siren, the most one hero. If I see this hero in a game, I am like basically like ready to quit on the spot.
Best hero.
Auto tilt, yeah.
It's just like it's auto tilt whether I cast it, play against it, play with it, or anything. I hate this hero in every shape or form. Song of the Siren cast time increased from 0.8 to 1, so slower cast time on the ulti. Cooldown rescaled lower at early levels, higher at later levels. Song of the Siren range rescaled to be better at the later levels, because I don't know why. Mirror image illusion damage taken rescaled from, well, it's higher, lower at the early levels, much higher at the later levels. 400% is pretty significant. Riptide damage now does 20% more to all level. Sorry, 20 damage more to all levels. Ensnare cast point is now better. I don't know why. Ensnare mana cost reduced from 90 or 120 at level 4 to 100. So nerfing Song of the Siren, nerfing images, and improving the other two skills. Why?
Good.
Why would you try and balance this
I guess
hero?
this is just more like a reconfiguration of the hero more than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it changes how the hero operates. It just
Back to support Siren with you.
Yeah. Well,
but,
I mean,
support
already...
Siren is probably where it should be, actually.
Yeah.
Why? So you can just walk in and cast Song of the Siren whenever there's like the slightest hint of a team, the opponent's winning a game.
Well, the thing is, I feel like it's a hero that should. I feel like where Naga Siren should live, right, is in a position where it's picked up more as a response to something rather than a solution to everything. And I think this is slightly more towards that. But I think the biggest problem for me with Naga Siren is actually her illusions. Because if you're going to use her in that sort of capacity, I feel like the illusions should be different. Not necessarily stronger or weaker, just different.
Yeah. Next hero, Nature's Prophet, replaced respawn talent with a removed teleportation cooldown. At level 25... I don't really know how much that's going to. It's just like ultra rad.
There's a very, I actually quite like this, because one of the issues that prophets have is that obviously this is a character that's always going to find a decent amount of farm, and I'm going to say this, and you should listen to this, is that you should probably still have a TP scroll and a prophet, right? And you lose up on a slot that you could use for, some extra damage or some extra utility. So I think this is quite nice, because if you get to 25, you probably do have at least 6 items that you want to hold, even if some are not, necessarily like in-game items. And then, you don't have to worry about this anymore. So I actually quite like this.
Just put your rat hat on and off you go.
Pretty much.
Hey, okay, I must admit, actually, I would have preferred something more like you get 2 charges or something like that.
Base getting taken.
Charges on a teleportation.
You're right back.
That is going to be a horrible hero, dude. No, this is not a hero I want to be seen with that.
Picture pubs. You're gonna get Nature's Prophet that's gonna get an Argon Scepter. Try and get to his fastest to level 25. So Hannah Midas, Argon Scepter, get to the teleportation cooldown, and then only is not where everything else is happening for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Necrobooks refresher, pretty much.
Imagine how awful that is. Just you try to run away and you just like keep blinking after you, at maximum range with like this delayed blink. It's quite funny actually. Fun is definitely. I'll tell you one thing. this is a hero that we will see every now and then in the competitive scene, and fun will occur with this talent.
Fun will occur if you enjoy Rat Dota.
Alliance is back, guys.
Hardly. Bulldog maybe, but not Alliance. Necrophos, Ghost Ride heal amplification increased from 50% to 75%. I think that's pretty good. I mean, he's already pretty strong, but the heal is definitely going to help him out. He just did kind of feel like the damage didn't feel as... like it felt a lot better than the heal was. Whereas previously it wasn't like that. Nightstalker, Hunter in the Night can now be activated during the night to grant Nightstalker flying movement for 2 seconds. Cooldown of 14 at level 4. Mana cost 50, 1,200 vision.
This is actually incredibly funny. You know what this is? This is just to give people nightmares. Like, that's all this is. Just nightmare time for Nightstalker. And actually, this is really good as well for ganging. I could see this be amazing for a gang. Like, as like sort of 4-position support. Because if you think about like ganging towards the mid lane and that sort of thing, it's a bit of a problem getting around the actual cliff face. And this does mean that you sort of can effectively be wherever you need to be. So this is actually quite cool. And also something that will give people nightmares, which I'm fond of. Not the nightmares, giving people nightmares. A bit of a troll.
That is ridiculous.
It's Work Already posted a thing.
Yeah, I know. I just clicked on it and watched it.
Yeah, he can go from...
It's just ridiculous.
He can go from the high ground to the low ground, or the low ground to the high ground, which is crazy strong for him at night. It's like one of the reasons. It's like one of the only ways you can get away from him. And now he's just going to be like, "Lol cakes, no." I'm actually just going to follow you with flying vision.
Yeah, on a 14-second cooldown for 50 mana. Why not?
Oh, great.
Ugh, that's going to be horrible.
Love that. I think that's amazing.
Every support in the world just shut their pants. Oracle, Fortune's End is now a root rather than a slow that sets the target to 0 movement speed. That is much better. Replaced respawn talent with plus 0.75 seconds. Fortune's End max duration. Okay. It's level 10, so it's reasonable.
Yeah, that's okay.
Fortune's End projectile speed is slowed. That's probably a good idea as a result. Purifying Flames can be cast from 850 now instead of 800. Okay, so Oracle is slightly better. Do we see him in play,
This is a good hero.
But it's not a hero that's played at all, because I think people generally see Dazzle as superior to him currently.
Yeah.
Are these changes enough for Oracle to be played, though, is the question.
I hope so, right? Because Oracle is a cool hero. Like, it's a hero that I think we want to see played. It's an entertaining hero. So I hope it's enough.
Yeah, I guess so. Outwill Devourer, reworked Outwill Devourer Scepter once again. Grants 2 charges to Astral Imprisonment, increases cast range by 300, damage area stack, replenish time 12 seconds. This is actually obscenely strong when I thought about it. Because the areas stack, right? So if you pop 2 heroes into the Astral close to one another, that is ridiculous amounts of damage.
Yeah.
And Refresher is a thing now. Imagine dropping 4 heroes in an Astral Imprisonment right on top of one another.
Yeah.
If your finger speed is fast enough, you are just like, cheers team, enjoy.
It's going to be quite fun, guys.
Yeah, that's basically playing Osu. That is going to be crazy.
Except with
unlikely
being a child of your enemies.
Unlikely to be played very often, but still something fun. Phantom Lancer. Phantom Lancer. Fixed doppelganger illusions lasting 1 second less than intended. That should not have been fixed. Should have just been left like that. Phantom Rush agility bonus now granted before the first hit lands rather than after. That obviously makes the illusions a lot stronger because the damage you're doing. Juxtaposed max illusions increased from 5, 7, 9 to 6, 8, 10. So small buffs all around, I guess. Although I suppose the Phantom Rush is pretty large. That is a pretty significant buff, given the damage that you can do if you have all the illusions available.
Yeah, I think this might be enough
to get him in. I mean,
I think he's always been like on the verge, and I think this might be enough.
The problem is like all the illusions just took a massive beating.
Yeah, fair enough. I think if this was that's a very fair comment. If this was the last patch, this would have probably been enough, but probably not enough now.
Yeah. Like it's a buff at the wrong time, unfortunately, I guess. Phoenix, Fire Spirit's duration increased from 16 to 20. That is pretty good, actually. Replaced respawn talent, 20% XP gain. Definitely a hero we're going to be seeing more of. Definitely.
That's good. That's good. I like XP gain talents.
Especially 20% is pretty solid. I mean, like he's not going to be finding a lot of farm, but he already picks up a Midas. They've buffed Midas on the XP side as well. So yeah, he's going to be loving this. He's definitely going to be loving this. He's going to enjoy patch 6.07.
He's a hero that just wants levels. That's all he needs.
Yeah.
So XP gain talent for him, level 10, perfect. Move on.
Mm-hmm. Pudge, +1 dismembered duration at level 20. Okay. Seems good. Pugna, life drain now.
It is actually. Can I just make one comment about that? That is a BKB penetrating spell. So there is that at the very least. I mean, I think we all realize that
level 20 Pudge though these days.
Fair enough. It's. I want it to be good.
In the late game situations, that could be amazing for a late game Pudge. So.
Yeah, but still, I don't know. Pugna, life drain now grants true sight vision over the target. Okay. Life drain cast range reduced from 900, 105 to 1200 to 800. I think that's probably a good idea since it was a bit stupid that he could cast from that far away. Life drain now has a 100 range buffer, so you have to cast it closer, but it breaks further.
Yeah.
That's.
Well, effectively, it will give you a level 1 life drain.
Yeah.
So, but you have to be closer. So it is a nerf, a flat out nerf.
Yeah, I mean I think.
I think the true sight vision is massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually true.
You can you can't just use what do you call it, Glimmer Cape anymore to get out of trouble with that skill. Like it's still.
If you're life draining a Templar assassin, and she melds, you know. You now just have perfect vision of that hero, or Ricky trying to get away from you, or your team. Like being able to use life drain to get vision, I think is huge.
Yeah,
especially because
I think the range obviously puts him at the problem is because Pugna's so soft, the range is really what made it so nice. I don't know if true sight vision trumps range. Is my only concern.
Maybe
I don't think it does. I think if they dropped it to 900 and then they had a 100 range buffer, that would have been okay. But to go from 1,200 to 800, I think is a bit too extreme. Because 400 range is pretty significant. That's just my concern. The thing is, Pugna, you don't pick up Pugna to counter an invis hero. That's my concern. So I just don't think that change is.
Now you do.
I just don't think that change is good enough to justify. He's got a new respawn talent as well, +1 seconds decrepify duration. I suppose maybe that helps out there with the life drain, as in you can drain longer now because it's available. Yeah, I don't know. Queen of Pain, level 25 talent from no Shadow Strike cooldown because that was dumb to 550 AoE Shadow Strike. So you get an AoE Shadow Strike instead of a no cooldown one.
So Axe goes in, he calls people, he dunks a creep, and then you Shadow Strike everyone.
Yeah.
And basically your team is infected with an STD.
Yeah, an STD that slows you and makes you do less damage. That's going to be horrible.
And that is one thing we might actually see as well, because it's not. I could see a Queen of Pain mode and an Axel Flame or something to that effect.
Yeah. And a whole bunch of Darks here.
But where do you put the Darks here though?
Position
I was thinking
4,
about
bro.
that earlier when
Position
I spoke
4.
about it.
Oh, no, you could go position 4 Axe.
I guess. But then are you gonna get the Ags up on the
Dude,
Axe?
I think Ags is pretty much standard operating procedure these days, dude. With that kind of pickup, that is just crazy. Think about how severely you wreck something like an anti-mage or a Sven, any kind of hard carrier that gets involved in a fight with you now is just like completely and utterly dumpstered if you get off a random freaking ulti.
Yeah.
Razor, Eye of the Storm prioritizes striking static linked heroes. Eye of the Storm no longer has a cast point because that skill needed buffs, I guess.
I like the fact that it's at price of static link heroes. That's amazing because now you can run through a creep wave as long as you got the guy static linked, it'll be hitting him.
Yeah, because static link is already like not OP enough that it like goes through everything.
Yeah.
Now it gets a synergy with an ultimate that.
Well,
like,
this hero still like almost never sees play anyway, so
yeah.
go
Well,
Razor.
is
Get
this-
picked.
is this
I'm
enough-
ready for you to come back, Razor.
Is this enough to bring him back? Because it also, like, Eye of the Storm has no cast point, so you don't stop. So if you start linking a guy, you just pop Eye of the Storm and just run after him and he's dead. Like, he can never get away, basically.
I don't know. I just think there's better things out there. But like Razor does kind of see some love sometimes, if it's like certain drafts. So maybe.
The problem is, like,
This
Razor's
is
like...
not going to be.
Razor's like feast or famine, though. Like, when he's picked, he's, like, just everywhere. And when he's not picked, he's never picked. That's, like, Razor's life. Like, he's either tier 1 or he's, like, tier 15. Based on, like, how the games go. Ricky, base move speed reduced by 5. Probably just to get him out of play. Like, I don't think 5 is in, like, a massive one, but it's just to, like, slow down his rotations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sand Kingu. Caustic Finale is no longer a unique attack modifier. Okay. I don't really know why that mattered, because he never buys items that give UAMs anyway.
Yeah.
Sandstorm invisibility link duration rescaled so that it's low, or it's lower at low levels and the same at max level. They've rescaled the DPS once again. Starts at 40 instead of 25, and it's the same max value. So you get less of that nonsense where you just pop Sandstorm for half a second and then keep running to get out of trouble, and it's now actually a bit more damaging. I suppose with the jungle buffs, he might be back in the jungle though.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, wasn't the Linger, wasn't this what it was before? I feel like it used to be like this, and they changed it. Now they're reverting back.
I think the damage was the same. I think the damage was... I always remember the damage being like 40, 60, 80. And then they nerfed the damage. But I don't remember the linger duration
I
change.
really do. I feel like I maybe even have been doing one of these patch reviews with somebody, or patch analysis. Because I actually remember chatting about this. I think this was, in fact... may not have been the exact numbers, but there was a case where the invisibility used to be different, and now it's sort of been scaled back to what it once was. But I also think that effectively what they've done is they reverted in a big way here. I think this is almost like going back to how it was, because I think I think they've just been like, okay, we tried this, we didn't like it, let's put it back as he was.
Shadow Demon. Shadow Poison mana cost reduced from 55 to 50, which it has been for so many years, and then I don't know why, it's like gone up, then gone down. Soul Catcher now spreads its application evenly amongst all enemies in the AoE. That is actually superbly good. In my opinion, I think it's going to increase the skill cap on the skill, because you now have to be more judicious in how you use it. And this also allows him to farm jungle, because you pop that on a stack, and whoever walks by that stack is going to love you very, very much.
So now everything in a Soul Catcher just gets that buff.
It's spread evenly, so if it's 50% and there's 5 things in the area, each one gets buffed by, or gets
I see.
10%. So yeah, it's...
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah. Like, it allows him to farm jungle pretty quickly, especially the small camps. Because you just, like, drop that onto the heroes and to get, like, a 12% buff onto all of them. Your Shadow Poison is now cheaper again, and you get a, reduced Shadow Poison cooldown at level 20, which you're never going to reach, but thought counts, I guess. Shadow Fiend, level 25 talent from 125 to 150. Shadow Rays. I mean, you could get there, but I think it's It's okay. It's not really anything to really write home about, I don't think. Shadow Shaman, base damage increased by 6. That's pretty significant on a sport. Mass Serpent Ward's base attack range increased by 50.
That's really nice.
Yeah, and Respawn Talent plus 4 Ward summoned at level 20, which he's probably not going to be reaching.
That's really nice.
Yeah, so nice, but not spectacular. Silencer, yet another hero with a reworked scepter. Glaives now pierce spell immunity and deal 100% more damage against silenced units. Carry Silencer, boys. Mid lane Silencer.
This is disgusting.
Yeah,
and,
pretty.
I feel like it's actually quite dirty. Because
It's quite dirty.
Silencer is, I feel, pretty good as a core. If he can get to his level 25, once he's got the attack range and like everything in his arsenal, he can attack from miles away. It's like 900 and something range or something.
And he gets 75% of his intel, which is now buffed because he does.
Yeah, and if he's had an okay game and managed to steal some intelligence, and he's dealing that basically double damage while they're silenced, and I mean he's a silencer. You know.
Yeah, this is.
Do you think that works with like
just
and that sort of
yeah, it's gonna work with Bloodthorn. Just think of how horrible that
because
would.
I mean that effectively means he can just wreck things like reliably. It's not like you need your ulti for it. You can just silence that core and then just beat him.
Yeah, you'd kill him in like 4 shots given these.
And Manta's been nerfed now as well.
Yeah.
So it's less feasible to just get out of it with a get out of jail free card. So I think silence is in, lads.
Another silencing hero, Skyreth Mage, level 15 talent from 75 damage, which no one is ever going to pick, to 10% life spell damage. Useful, but I don't think it's the kind of hero where life spell or spell lifesteal makes a hell of a difference, since he generally tends to pop in every fight.
Maybe a core Skyreth though.
Please no. Please no.
I mean, his Ags is pretty cool.
That Arcane Bolt can suck a dick. I hate that skill. Like, this thing is just... It's just harassment. That's all it does. Like, I don't know. Like, Skyreth Mage... Yeah. Slark. Intel... Yeah, Intel gain reduced from 1.9 to 1.7. Is that really that much?
He does have minor mana problems. Like he's not terrible, but you do run out of mana on Slark.
Yeah.
So this will be a little bit bad for.
Yeah, this is probably just like a punishment for bad Slark players. Like guys that are too willing to use their abilities for little gain. Spectre, Haunt cooldown rescaled from 140, 130, 120 to 180, 150, 120. Yeah, pretty much just so that she doesn't fight as early and as often, I guess.
Yeah.
Just to try and get her out of that kind of mode. Spirit Breaker replaced respawn talent with plus 30% greater bash damage. This is one of those supports that I could actually see getting to level 20 though. Yeah. At which point 30% greater bash damage could actually be hurting.
Yeah. That could hurt. It's good. I think it's really nice.
Yeah. Sven, God Strength now grants a bonus 16, 28, 40 strength when activated. And his attack bonus has correspondingly been reduced from 100, 150, 200 to 80, 120, 160. Needed, because giving something plus 40 strength with a 200% bonus would just be stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, just take...
But at the same time, like, making him more tankier when he ulties is a nice idea.
Yeah, so you don't just pop him, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Like 40 strength at level 18 is not bad.
Not at all.
40 times 8 is...
Yeah, that's lots.
320?
No, it's 20 strength. So it'd be 40. It'd be 800 HP at level 18.
Yeah, 800 HP.
Yes.
That's a lot. Hey?
And remember, you're gaining the bonus damage as well.
Yeah, and you're still hitting like a truck. I mean... Jeez.
That's actually very, very good.
I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Techies replaced respawn talent with plus 250 attack damage at level 25 because anyone's going to pick Techies to get that ability. Just have a free... Why?
I'm sniping now, lads.
Dude, why would you give Techies a freaking... I don't understand it. I don't understand. Like, I'm just moving on. I'm not even gonna... Templar Assassin agility.
Techies, boys. Here we go.
At level 25, because that's when it kicks in. Reasons.
Yeah? Level 25, double Moonshard. Here we go, boys.
No. Templar Assassin
Double
agility.
Moonshard Dragonlance.
Agility reduced from 2.7 to 2.3. Yeah, I think it's just to like reduce her damage and armor numbers mostly. I don't think she's like super potent to the point of being utterly broken, but she certainly was pretty strong. And then replaced her respawn talent with minus 8 meld armor reduction. That's super potent actually. You are
Do
like
you go for 3 charges on your your fraction, or minus 8 meld armor reduction?
I'm taking refraction every day of the week.
I would take refraction as well, but I mean, minus 8 meld armor reduction could be a lot of fun because that's significant.
Yeah, because you're already stacking a lot of armor reduction on top of it as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Still think the refraction charges are probably a bit more useful at that stage.
Plus, Deso's not a thing anymore, so she could have something else on top of that as well.
Deso is a thing.
I mean, it's not a orb.
Yeah. So I don't know. Could be worth. Who knows? Yeah. Terrorblade Metamorphosis move speed loss increased from 25 to 30. Okay. I guess that's a way to just nerf him apart from his illusions. Tidehunter.
Very strong hero.
Yeah. Tidehunter. Gush mana cost rescaled from 120 to 90, 100, 110, 120. That's just making him more of a ganker at early levels. And Aghanim's Gush now does a small ground reveal on units that are hit. Okay. It's decent. I think it's just like to kind of get him back into some play. Tiny. Base damage increased by 4. Grow increases craggy exterior by 6, 8, 10%. This is like Hellbird was saying earlier. IO Tiny might be a thing again.
Yeah. That is a significant increase in craggy exterior chance.
And base damage of 4 is also
it always triggers anyways. It's one of those spells. It triggers always anyways.
It's the 17%.
It's basically 100% craggy exterior now.
Yeah. Tree Protector. Nature's Guise now applies a full disarming root rather than a bash on attack. Yes, please. Thank you very much for being reasonable about giving something 2.2 seconds of stun.
It was getting so abused by people that knew how to play the tree like properly at the right moments. Like, that it was it was almost a stun knock. Yeah.
Pros on that thing were just dumb. It's just like bash Nature's Guise, bash Nature's Guise, bash. It's like this is just a bit stupid now. And then they replaced his respawn talent at level 25 with a 40 leech seed damage. Okay, at level 25, I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. Like, it'll be nice for the heal, but it's really, I don't think you're looking for the damage at that stage.
But you're even looking for the heal. I mean, it's just.
That's an additional 200 heal, dude. At level 25, that can make a difference in a fight. The damage, I don't think is going to be.
I think the major issue is that earlier on, there's more chances of you actually being able to get that full amount of heal because of the amount of damage per second. I just think if you're going to get, I don't know, maybe. I don't see it happening. I see you just getting burst down.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not going to get level 25 anyway, so. Tusk. Improved consistency of eye shards when pushing units in and out of the shards on impact. Eye shards now starts the blockers at the cast location rather than centering the blockers around the cast location. Okay. Eye shards Ice Rain's cast range increased by 200. Okay, as a result of the other change, the cast range would have been 200 less. Okay, so you can cast it further because it works a bit differently now. And Ice Shard's speed increased from 1,100 to 1,200. I guess just a consistency change more than anything else. Just like it's like the Kunkka change, really. It's something that didn't make sense and now it does. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Passing on. Underlord, Atrophy Aura damage reduction rescaled from 4, 16, 28, 40 to 7, 18, 29, 40, so better at early levels. Atrophy Aura counter now lingers through death, okay. So Underlord dying isn't like the be-all end-all. And added a Scepter, this is worrying. Atrophy Aura's bonus damage is now granted to nearby allied heroes for half of the bonuses, increases bonus damage duration by 40 seconds.
Seems legit.
Holy hell.
Nice.
Underlord is back in play, boys. And he's going to be farming a lot more in the jungle because I don't think he's ever been played with the jungle that was on 1 minute, was he?
I think he was out. I think he was in Dota, but he wasn't part of
He wasn't in Pro Dota.
match pool.
Oh dear lord, this is going to be terrifying. Underlord is a thing now. That is going to be horrible. Oof. Undying replaced respawn talent with 15 HP regen at level 10. What?
Yeah, really nice.
That's pretty bad. I mean, this thing is hard to kill already, and now it's just like, well, come at me, bros.
Yeah.
Dear
I think
lord.
that's probably the best like level 10 talent I've ever seen for a hero.
Yeah, that like a hero is actually going to make use of.
Yeah.
Ursa, base damage reduced by 3. Okay. I suppose that's fairly significant since it does actually work on his passive.
Yeah.
So that's actually a big change. 3 seems like a little bit, but it's actually going to make a big difference against things like Rosh and all the rest, I guess. Vengeful Spirit, Wave of Terror cooldown. Okay, just getting it back into play in the later stages. Vengeance Aura reduced from 12, 20, 28, 36 to 10, 18, 26, 34. I don't think these numbers are enough to get her out of play, just to reduce her impact, I guess.
Also, she's always going to be that solid counter to things like Batrider and, well, I'd say Monkey King, but he doesn't really matter anymore. So
yeah, no, Monkey King is not a thing anymore.
But it's still just based on its ulti, it's a good hero. So this is fine.
Yeah,
everything is fine.
Monkey King was buried in a shallow grave out back. OS Frog did not deal. Venomancer replaced respawn talent with plus 14% poison sting slow at level 25. If you're getting to level 25, that is going to be the most horrible feeling in the world, but I don't think that's happening. Core Veno hasn't been a thing for, 3 years now, so... Or not regularly, anyway. Viper Strike now deals its first tick of damage immediately. Viper Strike cooldown rescaled from 70, 50, 30 to 60, 45, 30.
Because he wasn't cancer enough, and just want to point out here, the fact that Viper Strike now deals his first tick of damage immediately means he actually does more damage in a big way, because he also does more damage based on how little HP you have. So he just hits you harder because, Viper was so weak before, especially in the lane.
But he never gets played.
Yeah.
So this is nice.
I mean, are we going to see...
might actually get played now.
Really, this is nice.
Are we going to see support Viper, though, is the question, boys.
I'm a Viper picker.
You are no longer a friend of mine. You can take yourself out, and it was nice knowing you.
I've known you for many years.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. But yeah,
that was Demonik, friends. Last time you'll ever see him.
Yeah. Support Viper. We literally spoke an entire tournament about this. Devin.
This is not going to help it at all, though.
That makes... Yeah, I don't think this supports the support Viper.
No, this does nothing to help support Viper. Visage, Grave Chill duration increased from 3, 4, 5, 6 to 3.25, 4.5, 5.75, and 7. Yeah, it's decent. It's ganking spell, so it's a little bit stronger. I like his respawn talent, though. Double Soul Assumption that is going to be ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
Some poor support is going to get copped with Soul Assumption randomly in a fight, and he's just going to be like, what the f just happened?
Poor Crystal Maiden.
The moment where you're still trying to move, right? You just sort of... you guys can't control...
Yeah.
I see what happened here. Guys are dead.
Yeah, like Demonik said, it's like some poor Crystal Maiden's going to be doing the dance, and then she's just going to be dead, and she's like, but I had full HP, and then it's going to be like, Visage just flies by, and like, oh. I think that is the level...
So runs over your corpse, well, flies, actually, because he does that now.
Flies over your corpse onto the low ground and away.
I think that is the level 25 one, though. Let me just check. That's talent.
Is it?
20, level 20. That's reasonable. I mean, you could get level 20. You could get level 20. Like, that's not beyond the realms of reason in a normal game.
He is also sort of a rat, so he does sometimes naturally drag out games.
Yeah.
So it is reasonable.
Warlock. Chaotic Offering mana cost. Probably a good thing. Increased by 50 at all levels.
Needed.
Replaced respawn talent. Summons a golem on death. I actually saw a video about this morning. And I was like, this is stupid. Because basically what he did was, he buys a refresher and he buys a bloodstone. And then he drops a chaotic offering, and then he bloodstone denies himself, and then he runs, and then he refreshes, and he drops another 2 golems, and then he bloodstones himself again, and you have 6 golems.
That's amazing.
I mean, I don't think that's actually going to happen, though. But does the golem...
Are you sure?
Really? I mean, okay, that is a very expensive... and I don't know, just like... Really? No, I just can't accept this. Like, I can't live in this world. That's why I go to League of Legends. I think that this is cute. That's probably where I'll leave it at.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see something ridiculous.
No, I think it's a nice way of like...
Does it actually do the stun as well?
I would assume so, yes. Like, I think this is a good way to like actually make him... Like, he's useful apart from just like being that annoying piece of crap that sits on the edge of the fight and just like casts a couple of spells. Because he tends to get like...
see Warlocks with like getting blink daggers, rushing to level 20 and then just blinking to the enemy team, going, kill me.
I think you now have like it's like an opportunity cost. Like, if you're gonna gank the Warlock at the start of the fight, you're still getting wrecked. So it's not like he gets taken out and then he just does nothing.
I could actually see a Warlock going for Agnums because he wants it, Refresher because he wants it, and then a Bloodstone. And Blink Dagger is not a bad item ever, really, So it's within the realm of reason that you might see Harakiri or other suicide bombers, Because I mean, if you left with this option, right? Because this is probably the biggest problem with Warlock. He's got a long cooldown, right? So you don't win that team fight. They're pushing up, and it's an important spell, and you don't have it. But now you just like take one for the team, lads.
Yeah.
And then you just fatal bonds, jump in there, and you just sup boys.
Yeah.
You have to drop a golem on your head, and you can buy back and do it again. it's like you missed nothing.
Yeah. Windranger's level 20 talents are now Windrun grants invisibility and plus 20 power shot damage. Okay. And Windranger's level 25 talents are now 30% cooldown reduction and 150 attack range. That's actually...
I mean, those are all, like, disgusting.
Yeah, like, those are actually, like, difficult decisions. Like, 120 power shot damage is pretty significant, but grants invisibility. So useful. Especially because, like, you don't expect the hero to have it, so the likelihood of you planning ahead is minimal at the start. When people first try this shit out, I think the invisibility is going to be more useful, but it probably ends up being power shot damage over time. So you can clear creep waves and all the rest. And then the 25 talents, that's actually a real debate, though. Although I think it probably goes cooldown reduction in the end. I don't know what you guys think.
I guess it depends on the Wind Ranger, right? Like, I mean, 150 attack range is really nice. But 30% cooldown reduction, especially if you're getting item. I assume this affects items as well.
Yeah.
So if you're getting some utility type things, or even just like a Scythe of Ice, it's quite nice.
Yeah. I mean, she hasn't been played a hell of a lot, and when she has been, she's been pretty ass. So.
It's a good problem to have though, right? These talents, they're all good.
Yeah.
So.
And 150 attack range is amazing. Like granting invulnerability for a support winner runner is amazing at level 20. 120 power shot damage, like it really does ludicrous amounts of damage to the first target. So another 120 damage is like really good, and plus 30% cooldown reduction is insane for something like for all her abilities actually.
Yeah, and she's intel based, so she's going to be gaining a lot of the other buffs to the heroes in general. Yeah, that's very, very good. Like
I think this is enough.
Mid Wind Ranger might be the new thing. I wonder. Winter Wyvern, Winter's Curse attack speed from 70 to 80. I would assume that's the attack speed slow. She doesn't gain a buff, does she? To the Curse? No, that's got to be the buff to an attack speed slow there. Anyway. Replaced respawn talent with +1 second cold embrace duration. I mean, not really a hero that'll get to 20 all that regularly, so I suppose it's okay. Not a hell of a lot there. Witch Doctor. Scepter now additionally provides True Strike to Death Ward. Because it wasn't more annoying enough.
No, friend, I don't care about that. Replaced respawn talent +2 cast bounces level 15. Okay, so firstly, I want to explain that this spell and me, I do not like this spell because it will find me.
I know, I hate it.
It will travel and it will find me and it will live on me, right, as much as possible. I mean, hell, if I'm playing like Ogre or something, it'll hit both the heads, so I just remain stunned all the time. So this is just irritating. This is literally just like a no fun spell. I don't like this. I don't like this. I'm not comfortable. Why did this happen?
Yeah, that is a pretty random one right there. I suppose maybe Witch Doctor does see a bit of play. That True Strike to Death Ward is going to be strong because Scepter is actually pretty common on Witch Doctors as well. So that's evasion based carries are going to get deep anal from this thing if it gets caught. Wraith King, we're almost at the end, ladies and gents. Level 20 talent from 20 strength to 10% vampiric or lifesteal.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Not great, but it's nice. Level 25 talent from 20% aura vampiric, from lifesteal to reincarnation casts Wraith Fire Blast. Replaces the slow fires Wraith blasts at half the projectile speed. What the actual fuck?
And for your viewing pleasure, that is what it looks like.
I don't want to look at that. That's just scary, dude. What?
It is absolutely hilarious. It Wraith Fire blasts everyone.
Is this kind of like something you'd see in one of those custom maps with just this sort of spiral of Wraith Fire blasts?
Yeah, probably.
I think that's really good, actually. But the problem is that he's already a problem when he gets to that. It's really a problem if he gets that far. This is a problem. Think about how difficult a Wraith King is to deal with when he reaches that end game and he can literally die, and then fight, and then die, and then just it seems endless.
Yeah, now you're gonna get stunned every time he goes down as well.
Yeah, that's really frustrating.
Yeah, that is horrible. That is really horrible.
Maybe we'll see it, guys. The Wraith King Bloodstone. Just blink in. Ravage everyone because you couldn't get Tide Hunter, and the go.
Yeah, at level 25, Wraith King is to Ravage when he dies.
Yeah, that's quite fun.
Oh, that's horrible.
That could be quite fun.
That is gonna be so bad. And then to end it off, Zeus gets a respawn talent instead. You will now get a 0.5 seconds lightning bolt mini stun. I'd say that's fairly underwhelming at level 20.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's 20, not 25, I guess, but it does feel like it's still performing. I mean,
it's now a stun. It's now a stun.
Yeah,
it's now a stun.
Yeah, but it's an annoying stun that you get at level
He doesn't
20.
get much out of it. Like, the hero itself doesn't get much out of it, you know?
And does that money stun also work on his Nimbus? Because that's...
No, I would assume it's only on lightning bolts.
But Nimbus
But
casts
is a
lightning bolt.
bolt. Yeah, so that could be pretty cool, actually. Could be pretty cool. I like Zeus. I would actually like to see more Zeus, so...
I'm a big fan of Zeus, yeah.
Something.
Well, I mean, all of this is basically a very interesting makeup because DGL Masters, as we've said, is this weekend. So I wonder who or what is going to come out the best of this, because ultra hard carries haven't really been touched in general. Illusions have eaten massive amounts of pain. And Castaway is the happiest man in the world right now, I would guess. I mean, right now, the only way you could make Castaway happier is to just, like, ultra buff Invoker. Just make him the most broken thing in the game.
There's actually, like, a bug on this page somewhere, because that doesn't make sense, right? And basically just Invoker gets, like... Yeah, exactly. So there's a bug on this page. Just Invoker has, like, double Sunstrike damage, 8 Forge Spirits, maybe some, I don't know, infinite range on Tornado.
Yeah.
Actually, I quite like Atos now on Invoker, just as a thought. There's maybe a sort of a niche item every now and then, considering its changes now that it gives those sort of balanced stats. That's not bad. Yeah. Sure.
It's not terrible.
Sure.
I mean,
Does this mean that Invoker is just in a good place? I mean, he's not the most picked hero, but he is picked. You can get a lot out of him. Maybe
I think he's in a good spot in terms of, like, he's not overly picked, but he's also not, like, underpicked.
Oh no, I'll get to this one last time. You get more experience.
Oh, yeah,
and he has all the spells. Invoker's buffed. We haven't said his name before this point, but Invoker's buffed.
I mean, Midas is reduced, but you get more creeps in the mid lane. You get more XP out of the Midas, and you get less gold. 4-staff is better. What else does he pick up? I mean, he's not going to pick up a Dagon, let's not be stupid about it. Bloodthorn. Slight nerf there, but still valuable. Ether Lens is worthwhile in the early stages now again.
Yeah.
Invoker got a lot of shadow buffs, because he also actually gains...
Yeah.
He gains the additional... in Spell Amp. No, the Spell Amp per 14 instead of 15.
Yeah, so he's got silent buff. We definitely see Invoker. And I also want to point out that because this game also sort of is leaning more towards faster games, it inevitably will mean more team fights, more pushing. So Invoker does both of those fairly well. I mean, so in fact, does both of those really well. So he's going to be a high value pickup.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's complaining. Invoker's a nice hero. It's fun. It looks good. So yeah. And Castaway is just the happiest man in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
Literally just having a little giggle about Masters coming up. And by the way, what's also going to be interesting, just on that note, is that there's Masters this weekend, and the following weekend there's Mega 8. And it's going to be really interesting to see how the teams adapt. The teams look between the... Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be
cool.
a very interesting one. Anyway, for those that have caught us all the way at 3 hours and 12 minutes, thank you very, very much for watching, guys. It was myself, Prophecy, and the gentleman with the lovely beard there is better known as Hellbird, and the man on the far side with that slightly crazy face, obviously, is Demonik. Now, Demonik and I will not be at Masters this weekend. You will unfortunately be blessed only with the lovely sounds of Hellbird's voice. So, guys, for those that are watching Masters this weekend, enjoy. Otherwise, thanks very much for following, and enjoy the rest of your probably day, because this might have taken half of it. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Cheers, gents. Bye-bye.